Lady has to, needs a minute or two.
Is the coffee good?
Do you need coffee?
Is it new? Or you can change?
Sure. Yeah, I'm not
Is
changing
it chocolate?
anything.
Because I really
Like
like
that.
the, I like the.
I haven't changed it.
I like the chocolate world. Yeah.
I'm now way over my allocation.
I'll walk back the other way, Mike.
As a side note, just everybody, if I may have to step out a couple times today, I've got the bee people for the tiki
The
bar.
bee people.
Ah,
Back again
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, nature's own. The bee people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All our pest control.
I had to call Ray.
Didn't say why.
No, everybody
I
was
didn't,
asking.
well, I understand, but what I didn't want to do
Freak
is
everybody out.
want to freak everybody out about it. And I think we're over today.
Right there.
I didn't want to talk about the colony or.
He should be close.
Well, we were close.
Well, it
Told
should go to
yesterday,
the board
too.
ultimately if it's an
Where's
emergency.
today anymore?
Yesterday was.
It's five
Started out
thousand
nice
less.
and then it got.
I guess.
Right,
How are you?
structure.
How am I?
By the afternoon.
It's okay, Joe's daughter lives on Long Island and she
Oh.
early from Turks and Caicos and now she's like trapped.
I'll
She
bring it
said
up at the next meeting.
the snow was up to her fence and luckily she went to the grocery store yesterday. She said it's ridiculous.
We should both sign it, but.
It's
She said I should have stayed in Turks and Caicos. I said,
We are live. So
Okay, okay. Cool.
sure.
All right.
let me go this way.
Okay.
Got too many cords.
Good morning, Belinda.
Morning. All right, all right, you're live, you said, right? You said, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. So we're ready. Let it rip, Belinda.
I'm ready to stand. I'll stay standing.
Yeah, please, please.
Okay, so I have turned on the recorder. The time is now 9:30 a.m. I'm going to call the meeting of the Venetian Community Development District to order. Today's Monday, February 23rd, 2026. The first item on the agenda is the call to order / roll call. Those supervisors that are present are Jill Pizarnik, Cheryl Tarana, Cindy Sneezig, Ken Smaha, and Rich Goodman. On behalf of district management is myself, Belinda Blandon. Field manager Keith Livermore is present. We do have Spencer Gonzalez, landscape inspection services present. And we have general manager from Hampton Golf, Greg Parker present, as well as audience members for the record. The next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please stand for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the public comment portion of the agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, as a reminder, we will limit public comments to 3 minutes per person. Our first speaker is Darlene Schemberg.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning,
Good morning.
Because I'm awake now. I just have one comment to make, and I've been really, this has been a problem for not only me, but for the rest of the residents for a very long time. We have got to keep those dumpster doors closed. We have got to keep the dumpster lids closed. We had something happen on Saturday where Ray was doing his job, maintenance, got the raccoons out of the dumpster again. They're huge because we're feeding them, and they jumped in front of a resident and her dog. Scared the living hell out of her. Of course, she screamed. I heard it at my house because that's how loud she screamed. And we have just got to be a little bit more consistent in how we're handling that. They could become rabid. I mean, I don't know what makes a raccoon rabid. I have no idea. All I know is that we're feeding the fowl, and we need to stop feeding them and the animals. We need to stop feeding them. I mean, we have plastic all over our lawn every single morning from the dumpsters, from food, from whatever's in there. Who's ever responsible? I don't care who the last one is. It's not always the kitchen, so I'm not gonna put the blame on the kitchen, but we just can be more diligent about it. Also, our circle on Tosello Court looked better before they pulled the plants out, that they pulled out the plants and put the new ones in. I don't exactly know what's going on with the landscaping on those circles, but it's been close to 5 months now. And it looks terrible.
We think the irrigation failed. I was out there with the crew
We told them the irrigation was cut a long time ago.
They're working on it. Irrigation team is out there. We're gonna replant your whole circle.
Okay.
But we're just waiting until they assure me that irrigation is fixed. Every planting we're doing from now on, I want eyes on water before we replant.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Darlene.
Thanks, Darlene.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Tim Clark.
Good morning. A few things I got to comment on. First of all, at workshops, we had our manager Greg call our kitchen dirty and the food quality poor at the Forum Fish Night. And that's, you can watch that worldwide. Me, I don't personally agree with it, but I don't walk through the kitchen. So he also calls it a fish fry. It's not a fish fry, claiming we need more fish fryers in order to keep up with the demand. That was one of the most well-attended events every Friday at the River Club. Hundreds of people, and now it's gone. And secondly, the board. I can't believe that you admonished Mr. Goodman for asking for financials. You're all co-equal board members. Nobody has more power than another. The only thing that Ms. Bizarre does is run the agenda. Everybody's entitled to every piece of paperwork, including myself. I also see that we're not paying attention to the financials anymore, just like we did with Vesta. No one's reviewing the financials, asking for the receipts, because Mr. Goodman found something that no one else did. And the Reserves Committee is not a financial committee, it's a Reserves Committee, according to their charter. They don't have access to Jonas, so how could they keep an eye on the money? That's the board's job. And you also said about staying in your lane. There's a board member sitting right there that complained many years being told stay in their lane. But now they want to project stay in your lane.
That was a different.
That's not, there are no lanes. You're all equally responsible for everything this board does. There's no lanes. Thank you.
There being no further speakers signed in, we're gonna close out public comment and move forward with our agenda. We are gonna move into committee reports, fitness and pool.
We're doing written reports now.
Yeah, we're doing.
We're doing bullet points rather than.
Yeah, unless we have questions.
Are
Yeah.
there any questions?
Can I just make a comment?
Yeah.
I just received in the notes, there was information about the Concept 2 rower that we're looking to replace. Obviously, we've got reserves for it and everything, but I received the estimate for it. It's $1,320. So I was just gonna go ahead and have Greg coordinate that unless anybody's got any issues with it.
No.
That includes the shipping and the installation of the rower.
That seems cheap.
$1,320. It's Concept 2 rower. It's one of the better rowers
Does
out there.
sound cheap.
It is. When we talked about it in
It's a
FPAC,
cheap price.
basically, yeah, it turns out that this is one of the better manufacturers, and it actually is cheaper than stuff like Matrix and the Stairmaster version and everything else. So, yeah.
I just have, well, not gonna comment, sort of, about fitness and, I know we've been talking a lot about Box Street.
That's not the.
Well, I know,
Just
but
kidding.
it should be somewhere, it's either fitness, tennis, or it's gotta fit under something.
It's lifestyle.
Yeah, I would call it lifestyle.
Okay,
I think it should be River Club. I think that's right.
that's gonna be River Club?
I mean, Matt can oversee it,
Lifestyle.
but I don't necessarily feel like it fits under the Racket umbrella or the FPAC umbrella.
All right.
Yeah,
It's
that's
more
just my
like a
2
member
cents.
event. I think in my head, it's more of a member event. Because it's a social thing, really, I think, more than anything else. It's not a sport per se, at least not for us.
Yeah, it's not gonna be.
It's a sport for me, but that's another conversation.
Serious.
I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding.
Sticking to
But-
the,
but I
sticking to
think-
the agenda.
Yeah, I think that it's actually more than FPAC should actually handle.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, yeah, and actually, because that was one of the, I had a couple questions on the fitness thing, maybe working from the end of it back. I noticed there was something on here about the classes. Averaging, a few registrants, et cetera.
5, just.
Feedback I've had from a couple people, including a neighbor who does use the classes, is, she'd like to see some new classes. And so I'm wondering whether one of the things the committee can or does work on is concepts for new classes to replace some of the old classes, or are we just letting the instructors tell us what they want to do for us?
Right now, it's the instructors letting us know what they want to do for us, but we have talked about that in EPCAC to kind of shift that. I have left the class scheduling and thresholds up to Matt and Greg, because to me, it's more of an operational issue. And in my opinion, what they need to do is basically say, we can keep these classes and maybe for next year's budget, add a couple more, right? We don't have to budget to this strict number that we've got right now, which is, let's say, 27 or 29 or whatever it is. So when we had the last FPAC, I said, think about how you want to manage that budget. We can either cancel the low attendance classes and replace them with a couple, or we can keep these lower ones that are important to some people and then just budget some extra money for additional classes to have, a step up in the type of classes that we want, like whether it's, a bar class or something like that. The other thing that I asked them to do on top of that is to also take a look at making that a zero cost opportunity here. In other words, reimbursement, because so many clubs reimburse. Now, I'm just throwing it out there to let you know we had the conversation.
It's a good budget discussion.
But it's a budget discussion. And so I said, that has got to come from them and they need to make the recommendation to us.
I don't know why, personally, I don't know why we would run a class with 5 people in
Well,
the
you
mid
can.
part of the season.
I can certainly take that back to Matt and Greg.
That's
We
like
can talk
private
about that.
training.
I think there should be a minimum
Yes.
Yeah.
minimum attendance,
Yes.
and then, 'cause
Okay.
they max out at like 22 if there's a mat involved.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think it's
There's-
18.
18
Yeah,
minutes.
18.
So there
It's
needs to
18
be
people.
kind of a sweet spot.
Okay.
Explained why I was tucked against the wall.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, five seems to me like,
Okay.
either
I agree.
the class is not the right class, or, well, obviously it's not the right class if you only get 5 people attending
That's right.
it, so.
Correct.
I mean, I know our demographics are changing, we have a lot more people in here that are younger, that maybe
It's where
these
we need to
a
change
little
up.
bit more active, I don't know.
I
have no
agree with
idea.
you. I
have
agree
no
with you
idea, but-
1,000% on that. I think we need to shift a lot of things in fitness and we'll get into it at some point, but also the equipment itself, because our demographics are changing so much. So Nancy, can we just include that on the agenda for our next FPAC and we can bring it up with Greg and Matt?
But,
Thank you.
But I mean, we've always been struggling about doing charge fitness classes, but
Mhm.
I think when it's one thing when you have 15 people taking it, you can kind of, but it's almost not private, it's almost
It's
not
almost like private.
private fitness
Yeah, yeah.
classes that's club
Sure.
subsidized, and that's not fair to
Okay.
the residents.
But this is why I
Okay.
think these written reports are really helpful.
Yeah.
I
because
agree.
It gives me an opportunity to think about it beforehand, so I really appreciate this, especially since.
And the one thing I saw, there was also the question about possibly getting a director of fitness or something like that, I saw that somewhere. I just,
Matt's doing a great job right
okay,
now.
So Matt's gonna be doing that? Okay.
But I don't know if it's official. It's up to Greg to have a comment about that. Matt has been so helpful, though, you guys, even if it's not official yet.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how wonderful it is to have Matt
Okay.
helping us out, but I'll
That's
leave
great,
that
yeah.
for you to
That's
ask about, Greg.
fabulous. Yeah, cool.
I have a question about the fitness room, the exercise room,
Uh-huh.
sounds like there's getting some damage to the walls already. Do we know what's causing that?
Yeah, those are just little scuff marks. Like, you have to get so close. Have you been in there?
Yeah.
I feel like you have to almost get on top of the wall to see the scuff between the boards that we put up. And when we tried to take it off with, the magic eraser, we actually started taking off the paint.
Mhm.
So
Is it releasing the TRX straps?
now people are pushing chairs up against the wall.
Okay.
There's chairs in there and they bump the chair up against the wall.
Why are the chairs back in there?
Because some of the classes have required chairs.
I thought we decided no chairs in there when we did the floors.
Well, we never decided that.
We bought
Covers.
little
Oh, okay.
rubber things that go under.
The
all of
Yeah,
the
alright.
chairs,
yeah.
So they don't affect the floor. They affect
But-
the wall.
Yeah, and we looked into that, and like I said, other than like repainting it constantly and touching up, or not allowing the chairs in there at all.
Or
We
how
gotta
about
get
just, if you put some felt or foam on the back, taped to the back of the chair?
We could try that.
Can I just say one thing with regards to that? Those same marks are now appearing in the hallway because people are taking the chairs because they don't want to stand in the hallway. And I noticed this morning the little black marks right at the chair level too.
So if you put some kind of bumper or something in the back of the chair,
Yeah,
that should,
maybe, yeah.
that should do it.
Okay, we never even looked at that. Thank you.
I had one question about, I don't know whether it's for Tim or for you, on the facilities report. In old business, and I think maybe I'm just reading it, it said coordination with Sala and locker room projects, and then it said, comma, to add a well. We need to have, engage in environmental, is that old text stuck
No,
in
no,
there?
the new well is potentially for tennis courts. We're talking about it.
Okay.
So instead of using irrigation water for the tennis courts, if we can drill a well, we should be able to save a lot of money.
Has to be potable water.
That's what I said in the last RSAC meeting. It has to be potable water.
Yes.
On the tennis courts?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
yeah.
Well, the water's only, it's just shy of potable, but,
Matt will know.
that would,
Yeah.
because when they dug the well for the geothermals, they said it was just shy of potable. That's how clean it was. So I don't know.
I believe the problem has to do with growing, algae and other things growing on the cord. But again,
Right.
Matt will know,
Yeah,
right? So,
and we're just looking at it, but
Yeah.
also we're still trying to figure out what.
got
At
it.
the last meeting, I talked to Greg, we gotta go back, because there's still confusion as to the amount of water that the courts are using. Because if you go back to the Eye on Water, and we haven't had a meeting, so maybe you've
Yep.
got some answers. It was showing our water level was here in 2020. It was 2021 was here, then 2022 is here, 2023 is here, 2024 is here, and now it's back down some in 25, 26. But why is it still
You're
here?
talking about usage.
Usage. Why is it up here when it was down here? So even though we think we may have found some leaks, there still appears to be something in, Greg, have you had a chance to?
Yeah, and I had a chance to talk with Matt a little bit. A lot of it has to do with the fluctuation of season. That when you put down new clay, it requires a different amount of water in the under irrigation system. And there has been leaks over the years that have been addressed. So I think it's a fluctuating number. I know there's not one set number for the course of the year. And I know Matt's in the process of using a month-long study, doing different adjustments to figure out what's the minimum amount of water he needs to provide moisture to the courts. And then there is one court that has a unique idiosyncrasy about it that I guess every year I just learned about, it dries up, but the rest of the
Right,
courts
too.
don't,
Right.
even though the control valves are set the same.
It's
So,
always been that way.
well, and let me ask you, does anybody know why? So-
There is no answer to that question.
Matt just hit 90 days. He's trying to figure out, he's been doing a study for the last month.
And I would not be surprised if we're getting water leakage somewhere and it's showing up in the meter that it's going out there, but it's probably not. So there's something going on which we still haven't been able to identify. Because so it's not even season up. So I was looking at the yearly usage. So I wasn't looking at a month. So it was 2020, 21 was really low, and then it exploded. I mean, 20, 30-fold increases. So it's not like a little bit. It was here and then it's here. I mean, it's dramatic.
Sounds like there was a major leak during a couple of those years. And
But
whether
it's-
they were, I don't know, it
But we're
seems to have settled
But
off
we're
now.
but we're down lower, but nowhere
we
near
were.
where we were, and I'm still trying to identify that. So the thought was, if our water level was gonna remain at that, the cost of the water was so expensive. And I didn't know about the potable water, so it's
Yeah.
something we could talk
Yeah.
about.
Say that out loud.
We might be able to save it.
That's true.
What was
It
that,
might,
Ken?
it might, what he said was right on. It might not have been utilized properly for the irrigation under the courts 5 years
Agreed.
ago.
We weren't using.
Maybe there was a
it,
leak
but now
over
we're
a
using
couple
it.
of years.
Now they're getting properly.
Well, I can tell you for the last 3 or 4 months, it's leveled off, and the leak has been identified as the irrigation system working properly. Because it appears to be a leak, because it clicks on and clicks off depending on where the floats are.
Right.
So, and then the head, I think Keith had somebody from Juniper fix the head that was over behind the tennis court, so that leak has stopped. But at least the bill every month has been plus or minus within 3 or 5%.
Okay.
Oh, good. Now we'll get to the bottom of it.
Yep.
I have two questions.
One is, there's a comment about the locker room upgrade getting back on the agenda. I thought that we were,
We're just talking about it, we were gonna discuss to see
I just
if,
don't want them to have to waste their time, was my only point, because I thought we were gonna do kind of an overall.
well, that was,
what are
we were
doing?
just, that was one of the things we're just gonna bring up for discussion to see what we're gonna do and how we're gonna do. And because not knowing what's happening with Sala, is there anything we can do in the locker room temporarily that needs to get done, must get done, should get done? Because the Sala is not gonna happen this summer, it might not happen until next summer,
Okay.
and it's still that, and all of these things may affect one or the other, so
Right.
just trying to figure timing of what has to happen, what should happen, and there are things in the locker rooms that really started to look pretty ratty.
A suggestion I'd have for you all on that is when Jamie came in spring of last year before they made their proposal, he looked around in the men's locker room, obviously not ladies' locker room, but said he actually thinks there are some things that we could do that wouldn't necessarily be that expensive. So it might be an opportunity, since Jamie will be getting more involved and is already more involved on the LaSalle side, maybe that's a good opportunity.
Like I said, we didn't want to spend money in there because again, we
Yeah.
don't know what LaSalle is going to do. And we also don't know what's going on with office space, what the requirements for office space and storage space. And how many people really use the showers and how many showers we really need, and do we really need showers at all?
Fair enough. You raise a good point.
Really good point.
So those are all the things we're trying to understand and figure out how to address.
So can I circle back real quickly? I just want to make one comment. When I was talking to Matt last week about a bunch of different things, the lockers themselves, people have taken keys and have been using them month over month over month over month. Matt is going to be reaching out to them and saying, hey guys, here's the deal. You're either turning in your keys or we're gonna start charging you $10 a month.
Yep.
So he is in that process of reaching out to the individuals. And just as a side note, our cleaning people have actually 5 lockers in the ladies' locker room full of stuff.
Wow.
I actually physically saw it myself as I peeked open the cabinets. So
Don't
just,
they have a cleaning supply closet?
they have
Yeah.
and they have those 2 big cabinets in the locker
Right.
room as well.
Oh,
Okay, but they're taking five lockers.
Keys from somebody.
Yeah, they got keys from somebody, so.
is $10 enough? Because if it
$10
was
is-
me, I'd be like, $10 fine.
I think $10 is what we have in the rules and regulations.
Oh.
And then it's
you're right.
$100 for a year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. My second question was number 9. The River Club wishes to take over gate access and safety features at the boardwalk. Is that true?
No, we don't wish to take over. We were asked to price out the gate access control unit that controls the back lot. Because we were also asked to invest.
Yes, just that one.
Just
the
one.
Just that one.
That's
Just the
what I
one.
thought. I just want to make sure that we wouldn't take it over because it's
No.
not ours to
No.
take over.
No, we're
Okay.
not, we had the company out here because there was a request to put a swipe on the door for the fitness room.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, have any idea how much that costs. And then we also had to do a repair.
Thank you.
Thanks. Cool.
Jill,
Yes.
I have I had a senior moment and I thought because we were on
I
the
don't believe that
agenda.
for a
Oh, yeah, I
minute.
did. I have several of them lately.
I know you're on top of everything, Darlene.
So I apologize for not sending this
Thank
to
you, ma'am.
Melinda and to all of you ahead of
Thank
time.
you.
Okay, thank you.
I thought you changed your mind because we were on the
Oh, we're
actual
good. This is
agenda.
helpful.
So it's just,
Thank you.
Good. Good. Thank you. Cool. Is there any
Do you need
questions for-
Are there any questions on Darlene's report?
it's pretty generic.
All righty.
Great, thank
Cool.
you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Darlene.
Darlene.
No problem.
Facilities?
Oh, we did that.
Yeah,
Yep,
we did that.
yep, yeah, we're good. We're moving along fast.
All right, so we're gonna move into staff reports, landscaping inspection services. Spencer, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Spencer.
Hi, stranger.
Mr. GQ.
Yeah, right.
All right. So I got 3 things today.
I'm gonna start with the shortest one, and that's the palm trees. I was asked to look at the palm trees at the River Club and at the entrance. Palm tree, there's one medjool that has a splitting crown. That's probably some sort of nutrient deficiency. I didn't see any mushrooms growing on it, so you fertilize it, you hope it bounces back. If it doesn't, once it's dead, then I would consider replacement. The rest of your palms look fine. They have many years. If you're gonna do a same species replacement, the rule of thumb is you just wait for it to die,
Okay.
put a new one in.
Okay.
If you were gonna change it to something else, I would just suggest something more native. And that would, save you just a lot of grief with wondering if it's gonna survive or not. They just do a lot better that way, take a lot less water, a lot less maintenance in general, saves you money long-term to have native plants. The next thing is I was asked to look at the tree proposals. There was 3 proposals of interest to me. One was art, one was lamb, one was green toppers. So just so you guys know, I reached out to Lamb and Art and I asked them specifically to produce a structural pruning proposal and a clearance pruning proposal. And then be ready to come here and explain the difference to you guys. The reason why I wanted them to do that, and I went to those specific companies along with the other bids I saw you guys had, is I wanted to kind of create an exercise to teach us a little bit more about how this stuff is priced out. What is an average cost in your area for a qualified person to come in here? So with about 5 different bids, different scopes, stuff like that, you're able to glean some information from that. So from that, I see green toppers, and I believe it is lamb as your 2 to kind of choose from for clearance pruning. I do think Art's proposal is a great proposal for structural pruning. I highly doubt it's what this neighborhood's looking for right now. But everything that I read in there showed me they know what they're doing, and that's probably in the ballpark of what it would cost to, facelift all the trees in here.
So what is exactly the clearance? What do you get with a clearance?
Exactly, so clearance is like code compliancy. So you're gonna go to your 14 to 16 feet, whatever the county dictates.
Well, we have a contract with Juniper that says above the roadways is 15 feet and above sidewalks is 10. Why are we paying somebody else to do that?
See, and I will say, I agree with you, Rich, and Juniper knows that they did. When we originally were requesting this bid, it was for structural pruning.
Right.
Because they look so not structurally pruned.
Well, Juniper in the contractor is not gonna do tree pruning. They may clip a limb
That's all they do.
to reach whatever kind of number you're talking about. But for example, if a branch goes down and that branch starts 25 feet in the air and dips down to 13 feet and they reduce 2 feet off the tip of that branch, you've done nothing of any kind of like significance to the tree. It's going to grow right back to where it was. Probably 6 months, you'll be where you were beforehand, or wherever the tree dictates. When you have someone going into a bucket truck, they're using certain practices, removal, reduction cuts, stuff like that. You will notice, one, even just doing the clearance pruning, it's gonna look significantly different than someone essentially taking hedge trimmers to it.
That's not what I meant.
2, all your light posts are significantly over 14 feet.
Yes.
You have to clear all the light posts. You have to clear between the hedges and the canopy. That's just, Juniper's not gonna do that. They don't have the people for it. They don't have the equipment, part of your base contract to do any of that. What they can do is kind of like, the equivalent of like taking, doing a haircut 1 hair at a time, or something like that.
But I understand that and I appreciate that, but then we have the contract with Juniper to perform a function that's gonna cost them a lot of money and a lot of time to actually perform, but now not perform it. So we just gave them a big bonus.
No, they're still gonna trim. They just trim. If you're walking down the street and a branch is too low, that's their
That's
job.
their job.
Right.
That's all they.
No, I know that,
that's-
but they haven't, but if we come in.
But they have been doing it, but this is structural, this is over the top.
Right, okay.
This is a different kind of.
No,
pruning.
I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, because we talk about clearance versus, a true structural cleaning.
Yeah.
Or true clearance, which I agree, we need to do, because some of the trees are just so overgrown and the branches
Do you
are
think we
just
should
too far
take
away.
that, but are you saying we should take that out of Juniper's contract? Is that what you mean?
Well, I mean, if they're not doing it,
But they
Well,
are
but
doing
they
it.
are
Remember,
doing it.
this is not oaks on everybody's property.
No, I know, I know that.
And they are doing it on the main road.
Mhm.
It's just
I haven't seen that. Okay,
structurally,
I haven't.
I haven't gotten hit in the head lately.
I have,
Okay.
I have.
So, well,
That's-
it's 15 feet above the roadway.
Yeah.
And trucks are hitting the trees all the time, so they're not doing it.
So real quick, just before we veer too far off here, we're actually talking about three different things, not two different things.
Okay.
The lowest form, which is essentially landscaping, is what we're talking about in contract. And that is getting problem stray branches out of the way. You're not really pruning the tree, you're just, like I said, you're just clipping little things just for short-term relief, Whenever someone with a chainsaw and a bucket is going in there to prune these clearances away, a true clearance pruning, that can last you 3 years, That's gonna last you much longer. It's going to extend the life of the tree. It's going to, you'll see on some of the trees where it looks like a bunch of little branches are coming out and kind of drooping down, it looks really ugly. That's from what you're talking about. That's from just cutting it wherever you can to reach whatever kind of shape of 14 years there. And that is not good for the tree to do as your total clearance pruning. When we're talking about your light poles, your real roadways, your sidewalks, 240 trees, that is a project on itself just to do clearance. The third thing, which we're not really talking about at all right here, is structural pruning. Structural pruning is essentially going to every single tree, creating a custom scope, and using science and math, trying to describe, okay, how can I reduce wind load in all these areas? How can I select a dominant leader in all these areas? And it's a very nuanced, and it takes a lot of training and stuff to do that. And that's the big price difference. That's the thing we're ruling out. We talked about structural pruning, so I wanted to demonstrate what that looks like. Clearance pruning versus just what Juniper has in the contract are also different.
All right.
So
Why are you ruling out structural pruning?
Well, I'm not ruling it out. I'm just saying one was $180,000, and one was $50,000. So I mean, based on the last conversation I had here, when we brought up the first structural pruning proposal we got back, it was like, okay, that seemed a little high. It seemed like out of our park for a complete structural pruning of every tree, and it's probably not totally necessary right now. You have some trees that need structural pruning that don't have a central leader. They're splitting in the middle, going different ways, big pockets of decay. You would want to do that probably tree by tree, or section by section, as far as what trees really need it. A lot of your trees, especially on Veneto, look really good. You can tell someone with care had been taking care of them because you can see where limbs have been taken off and lifted up to a certain canopy height, and that's all by design. You can see where it started to split, they cut that off, so it kept going straight up. That's structural pruning. It starts whenever it's planted, and you are actively shaping where the tree goes and trying to mimic forest conditions, which means growing straight up to chase the sun. Whenever you plant a tree in a field and sun's hitting it from all sides, that's when it kind of has like a cellular explosion, and it's not really meant to, that's when it goes out, and you see branches going everywhere. Structural pruning pretty much creates a fake forest around that tree and makes it grow how it should.
So let me ask you this, how many, the 50 versus $180,000, the $50,000 is more like just a clean up, get it going versus the structural at 180 clearance. How long does a structural pruning last versus a clearance pruning? Like a clearance pruning, I think you said was 3 years, right?
Yes, so
what's a structural?
So the structural, once again, is focused on the shape and health of the tree, storm resilience, right? So the structural pruning should last indefinitely until you have another problem again. You don't reschedule structural pruning.
Gotcha.
Like a full, let's look at this tree, give it a total makeover.
Mhm.
You shouldn't have to make it over, more than once or twice at most.
Okay,
But
but clearance pruning is about 50 grand and it's every 3 years.
about every 3 years.
Okay.
And they're going to use they're going to use structural techniques as they go, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not going to go in there and do a bad job because they're not
Right.
using structural. They're just not going to kind of, sit there like I would, what do we do? It's like, all right, guys, get the distance here, shape it up, let's move through it, and make sure you're using proper cuts, which brings me to another part of what I wanted to speak about, between the LAM and the ART proposals. I mean, LAM and the Green Topics proposals. They're very similar. Their price difference looks marginal. Maybe they had $10 more per tree, whatever. So it sounds like they're in the same ballpark. Green Toppers does mention structural pruning in their scope. I don't, we would have to get them all in here and, say who's doing what. In theory, that gives them a different differentiator. They're technically providing more. What I think they need is structural practices, but in order to kind of make sure they live up to the standards that I believe they will, I would suggest allowing me to supervise 1 day of work. And just be there. So if I do see something wrong or something lazy, I can catch them right there. Like, well, you did this price, don't cut corners. And typically when that happens, we're not gonna have any issues. Most of this work gets messed up in secret, not in public.
I love that
Yeah,
idea,
absolutely.
and I will say that when Landscape Committee first talked about this, we were looking at structural because we didn't want to lose so many trees in the next hurricane because we lost so many. So it was structural in that.
Mhm.
But if you're saying that only will happen in a few and you can supervise that at least for a day, maybe you can even point out the trees that you think need structural work, since you
Yeah.
said there's only a few.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a good idea to go ahead and get a basic prune job done first, and then maybe we can whittle down how many trees actually need more work from there.
So my only other question is, we just planted those oaks on Pissarro over at the far exit. Do those need to be addressed in this count? Yeah,
What
but
are the
on
little-
that-
By the golf club?
The little ones.
The little ones.
Yeah, so,
I mean, I don't know if that matters a whole lot. I'm just throwing it out there. There's what, 10 of them there at most?
no, not for clearance, but for structural, yes.
Okay,
That's when you want to start it. That's
that's
whenever
when
you
you
want
would
to start.
address that.
Yeah, you would want to be like,
Okay.
okay, we want this tree's lowest limb to be 10 feet tall
Okay.
or whatever. And so we're going to select a limb and be like, that's going to be our lowest limb one day. And we're going to plan on removing all these other limbs on here
Perfect.
in time so that way they don't get all gnarled and grow together.
Great, thank you.
All right, so we've done the trees, we've done the palms, and we'll just go ahead and do the landscape report now. Still got that left, not done with me yet. So it looks like we have a new account manager. Sergio, he's been very, at least as far as his responses, he's very quick and very thorough, which I can appreciate. Really nothing new besides an exaggerated, a worsening of what was already there, essentially. The places that aren't getting water look worse than they did the month prior. There is more dead trees now. I found a dead ligustrum, for example. Maybe it was there before, I didn't notice it, but it certainly was. I mean, all the leaves turned red at once, tells me that that thing got nuked. And then, so the roundabouts too, the weed pressure was much higher than previous weeks, which tells me, normally when I see something like this in the wintertime, is you had some water and they were kind of getting by on dry, not a lot of weed pressure, not a lot of growth. Some water came, it all came back, and they weren't doing what they needed to be doing in the first place because they were relying on that dry season to keep the labor down. You had some wet, some heat, it turned back up, you have a ton of weeds, and they weren't prepared to handle them. That's not a fact, that's what, if it was me as the account manager and that's what's happening, that's probably what happened in the background for me to not keep up. We had this conversation the last time of the year, there's been conversation of, well, that was LMP, but we have to remember they are LMP. They have to be accountable for all of LMP's mistakes. Or else they have to rebid. If you want to go off LMP salesmanship and get their account and then buy them up, then you have to say, I agree with that pricing. I agree with the standards that are being set, and I'm accountable for all the damage they created back then. Otherwise, you have to rebid if you don't think you're going to be accountable for all that. I do hope that they pick it up, but it's looking more and more like it's gonna be opening up the checkbook if it were to happen quickly, if they're not going to start replacing sod and, having that conversation. Which I would wanna have that conversation before, if they potentially get let go, is, will you resod parts of Veneto for us? Maybe that'll keep you on or something like that. That'd be my thought.
Well, and you weren't here for my update, which is they had a whole crew, including their Southwest Regional Manager, Regional Director here, when Landscape Committee met, which they have sharpened their pencil. They have gotten a whole crew out here. They have been incredibly responsive. They've gone through every item on your landscape inspection
Yeah.
report. They're the previous, did you know Andrew? The last-
Personally, no, just once.
He just disappeared, even on them. They said, we don't know what happened to him. So that's why we have Sergio now. So they said they're stepping it up. They've had crews out here. I've seen them. I've gone out a couple of times, Keith and I have. So they understand the notice. They responded to every point. So we will see. But I agree with you. There was a big gap in there of about a month where nothing really happened.
Yeah, and I also, this is not me beating up on Andrew even, I mean, this happened, I'm like, there's not exactly a lot of great options for the vendor when they come in under this situation, it's not the best, the first thing I asked Andrew is like, who were the people that were here beforehand? He said, we fired all of them. It's like, well, you're in for a hard time if no one that knows the property works here anymore.
Well,
So they made a mistake right off the jump, and I think that they, like everybody else, I think they can do it if either you or them are going to spend to get it right, that's for sure.
a question I've got, and it's a fundamental question, is I think it's great. I've heard a lot of good things about Sergio, but at the end of the day, you're talking about a sizable contract, and it's almost 4 years since, we put it out to bid. And, at some point, maybe as a board, we have to talk about whether it's time to go out to bid again. I appreciate somebody wants to do it, but having it all rely on, the efforts of one person. So I'm
Well,
just
and I don't
saying,
think it's one person, which is the good news. But
Okay.
I mean, there was a whole crew here, and it was
Yeah.
the crew that he reports to and who works
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah.
I would say they've responded to the deficiency effectively, and I say let's give them 60 days and see what
yeah,
happens.
as long as, and you're in the
And
driver's seat on
That's
this,
exactly
so.
what Landscape Committee wants to do.
Okay.
We were very clear with them
All right.
about, you have a small window here to
Okay.
make us happy.
Cool, fair enough.
And if we aren't happy, then we have an issue.
I need to chime in here because of the RFP process and how extensive it is for landscaping.
Yeah.
It's a big process.
Yeah,
I
So
remember.
you have to start with your
Massive.
project manual, then there's an entire procedure that follows, and it takes time. So if you do decide to go out for bid, prior to adopting your proposed budget would be the right time to do it, because, you can't, once you approve your proposed budget, then you can't increase it.
Yeah.
You can only decrease it. So it's something to consider.
Yeah, because I know we're looking at, I was talking to Andy about the roof RFP, and it's, you have to write it up, and it's 60 days, and then it's a contract, and then it's discussion, so you're looking at probably 90 days minimum by the time you start and finish.
well, the landscaping one is very expensive, the three of us remember.
And landscape is a lot more difficult than
I was
roof.
gonna say, I don't know that we can do it before we approve the budget. I mean,
It's not possible.
this last time was huge, so maybe what we do is deficiency notices, and then we start this process. If we're not happy with Juniper in the next couple of months, we start the process knowing that they're not gonna take over until the following.
And we could always, or we could just put more money into the budget.
The budget.
We could increase the budget
We
as
could increase
at
the
that
budget.
time.
Well,
In
in fact,
anticipation
last-
of a possible increase.
Last time we did this, and check me if I'm speaking out of turn, but we took the lowest bid. I actually liked the higher bid company. Remember, I kind
Whatever
of
that
fought
was.
for that other company because I thought they would
Yeah.
do a better job, but it
Yep.
did cost a little bit more. And so I would say have them back again if they're willing to bid again, but it's, oh my God, that was a long process.
The old IBM theory about taking bids is they would take 3 bidders back in the 1950s, and automatically they pretty much take the guy in the middle, because they figured the guy on the bottom is too cheap, the guy at the top is too much of a profit, the guy in the middle is just, it's got it all covered, and he's probably about right. That was the direction how they started the bid process. They worked off the guy in the middle.
Well, I remember Ken saying, and I completely agreed, in early 2023 when we did this, is they kept their price the same for 6 years. Remember Ken was like, I don't know, can you really?
I
It didn't
think we
make
all
sense
were
to me.
nervous about it. We were all nervous that it was, yeah. So,
And look at inflation.
but you know what? This is still good leverage because this conversation is on record.
Yep,
Yep.
And so
Yep.
now there's,
You're
yeah,
hurt.
they better step up or we're in a problem.
Thank you.
cool.
All right, yeah. I would say the last thing I have to say about that is, even if you go out to bid again, Juniper can win again. I mean, that you're not ruling them out, by,
Absolutely.
making them compete.
Right.
Right.
But, other than that, does anyone have any questions for me?
No, it was so helpful, Spencer.
Thank you, Spencer.
You guys
As always,
pump me
thank
up so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rick has not arrived as of yet.
Okay.
And Dan is gonna be filling in for
Mhm.
Andy, unfortunately, he had
Right.
an emergency. So, we're gonna skip those two, unless you want to discuss the district engineer items or wait for Rick to arrive.
I think we should wait.
I mean, I'd like
We
to
know
wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll jump into the River Club. Greg, do you have anything to report?
Sure. First, I'll say thank you for spending the time that we did a couple weeks ago. I think it was a productive and informative meeting. A couple things, minor bullet points, since we took so much time last time. I'm just going to keep today brief. The situation that came about over the weekend with Tiki Bar, there is a swarm or a colony of bees. Nature Zone was on property yesterday, and they're back on property as we speak right now, so I'm gonna excuse myself after my section. They're trying to find a hive or a den or a colony of the bees. We did apply some chemical treatment to the equipment out there that will help, and apparently they have their bee expert on site today. So they'll give us some insight as to what we can do or what preventative measures, if we can find the hive, relocate the queen. And so that's what came about on Saturday and Sunday. It started really last weekend, to me, to be like an imposition or very inconvenient. And then over the course of the week, by the time we got to Friday and Saturday, there were literally hundreds of bees. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we focused on keeping the behind the bar and everything clean. We still do have issues with food or spills on the pavers. Somebody spills a drink, you can wash it off, but it doesn't go away completely. But it was really crazy on yesterday when we opened the awning. We went from 0 bees to 30 bees in about 5 minutes. So it feels like they're sitting and watching or talking to each other. But honestly, when we opened it, there were no bees, and 5 minutes later, there were 30 bees. So I have a feeling that the hive is close. Probably in one of the trees or a dead tree or a tree trunk behind us. The gentleman that I'm working with, Mike Burgess, who's the owner of Allied Technologies, he's a third-party contractor for Sangoma, which is our phone system. Mike is on site right now with one of his technicians, Dominic. He's still working with me to try to have Sangoma honor the service contract from 2015 and provide us with 3 additional phones. We've also taken a look at adjusting the contract so we're not paying for things that we don't have anymore. But secondary to that, the camera system that is installed, there are already cameras and hard wires and a monitor in the HVAC or in the server room, but it doesn't work. And it hasn't worked for quite some time. Apparently the camera uses a web-based system that ran off Internet Explorer that is out of date. So the good news is we don't have to replace everything, but we do have to replace the cameras. But the hard wires are already installed. Some of the monitors are in the back. The platform already exists. Jill signed off on the agreement. It was, I think, $2,600 or $2,700 to have 10, or it's either 8, I think it's 8 cameras reinstalled. So as of the end of the day today, we should have our security system back online.
Nice.
So some of the cameras, so none of the cameras were working?
None of them.
Because didn't they buy new cameras like 2-3 years ago? I thought they bought more cameras, like Jeff Thomas bought more cameras.
That was strictly for the tiki bar. That was
There
not,
were a
Yeah,
couple
that
back
was
here.
bizarre.
yeah,
So Rich, I did have two different IT guys come. We tried to troubleshoot it and we even tried to use, not even a cloud-based, just use on-site with a recording possibility to try to circumvent. And it just,
I was just curious.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I know the system worked when Kelsey was here. I don't know when it stopped working.
there's an image that's delivered to the one monitor, but that monitor doesn't disperse the image to any place else, whether it's a phone or a PC.
it's a very manual, cumbersome. It was in this back office, the F&B.
Yeah,
Yes,
I know.
Yes, and you
I-
had to, yes, it was
I
very
looked
manual.
at it.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible, but
And it was
you know.
very disconnected.
Well, but apparently, I'm not an IT person, but what I have been told by two different IT people was because it used an Internet Explorer-based platform, it wasn't compatible with Edge or Chrome.
Chrome, right.
I know. So at the end of the day, for $2,700 to have the install and new cameras and have it work,
No, that's, I was just curious, this first, like, obviously first I heard about it, I just remembered that they bought cameras for Tiki, and I think they replaced a few other cameras around here, and I remember looking at it back in, when Kelsey was here, so I was just shocked that they're not working there, so that's all.
how does the board feel about cameras in the tennis area? I've heard some conversations back and forth from different individuals. It hasn't been addressed, it hasn't been approached, it hasn't been quoted. I've just heard it on the back end. What do you guys think about? Is there a need? Should I have the people today give me a quote on what that would entail?
I would much prefer the pickleball courts, but I also know that there's a power source issue there. I don't know if we need them on the tennis courts.
I think tennis and pickleball would kind of go together.
Kind of go together.
Yeah.
What would we need cameras there for?
I don't know, I've heard from has this been a conversation in the past?
I haven't heard about
It has.
It has been.
It has been, yeah, and I think in part, there were two reasons that I remember hearing about. The first was that there have been times when people would bring guests in after staff had left, and because they didn't want to have to pay guest fees. And we're talking about using 3 or 4 courts. But the second is people who do not live here using the courts, which I've experienced myself, actually. We chase some people off, so. But does that warrant, putting cameras up?
And are you gonna know that from the cameras?
Yes.
Well, that's the thing, and what does Matt think? Do we know what Matt
Yeah,
thinks?
that was my question. If somebody
I can ask
doesn't,
them.
if somebody doesn't live here and they're playing tennis and you look at the day after.
But you gotta watch the whole thing.
And you come and look at the next day and
Exactly.
see, okay, there were a bunch of kids here playing tennis on Tuesday night.
Well, who are they?
It's Wednesday, now what
Right,
do we do
what are we
about
gonna
it?
do
And
about
how
it,
do you know
right?
who they belong to?
I think if Matt thinks we need them, fine, and if he
Yeah.
doesn't, then we
I don't
should.
think Matt, so I've had talked to Matt, he doesn't have a strong opinion one way or the other, but he's conveyed the message to me that it's something that he's heard. So I'll confer with
If the
Matt.
court's
see
got,
if
if
he
the
can
court's
hear
got locked,
somebody.
well,
The pickleball courts get locked.
You can't lock tennis.
You can't lock tennis, that's the problem.
Well, it could, but-
But it would be useless because you can still walk on 4 or 6.
Exactly. There's no gate
right.
there.
So,
I don't think that there's a big enough need to do anything. It's just-
Okay,
Okay,
Why is Ken silent on this?
well,
Ken?
you can set up the tennis courts, the kids don't go
I'm
watch.
worried
it.
about
So
you.
boring watching tennis.
No, but-
The tennis lights stop at a certain
10
time.
PM.
Yeah, and the lights, actually, there's a timer for the lights.
Yeah.
And so even if somebody tries to turn them on at 10 o'clock,
They won't go
That's
on.
fine.
there's
Yeah.
the kill switch in the,
Yeah.
I won't say where.
No, that's fine.
Juniper and Sergio, Sergio, I was gonna say, we talked about it a little earlier, has done a very nice job communicating. Initially, he was gonna do some of the annual flowers and the pots last week. We put it off because of the cold front he saw coming through. He's on site this week, and I have a feeling that by the end of the week, that'll be installed.
Can I ask something about the 27 pots that we have on site?
Yeah.
This came up during FPAC. Do we need 27 potted plants in this area here at the River Club? I mean, to me, every time you put a pot down, it's costing us money.
My suggestion is we don't need any of them. That's my opinion.
Okay?
But I've inherited 27 pots.
Yes, you have.
For the season, the directive has been to plant flowers
Okay.
and annuals, so
Okay.
rather than come up with a concrete, this is what my suggestion and guidance is, I'm kind of going along to get along to appease right now
Okay?
until I have a better understanding and familiarity. in my opinion, with all the ground and irrigation system and the beds that you already have naturally surrounding this, I think that focusing on the property that we have and the irrigation system that we have, we'd get far more impact for long-term, with far less labor and manually
Agreed.
intensive.
Agreed.
Less is more.
So,
by the board.
is that a River Club budget item or is that a CDD budget item? River
It's
Club,
River Club.
okay, so then we can talk about that when it comes time to budget.
Exactly, and I think
Okay.
that, you know, if you see a pot that is just not attractive or, like, I don't,
Like that one?
for me, yeah, exactly. I was gonna say that.
Wait, which one?
And Nancy's going to a different one.
But here's
That one
the
right
thing, if you have a pot that has like just a palm, which by the way, we're looking at a ton of palms and trees. I think if we have pots, they should be colorful,
Agreed,
right?
agreed.
And if they're, so I would say you have some discretion there.
Yes.
Nobody's gonna go through and count 27 pots and say, Greg, what'd you do with the 26th one? So,
There's two over by the dumpster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's
yeah,
it.
so I
Dead palms in
don't
them.
feel like,
I know.
I'm just saying, okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah,
and-
so
and if you
message
want-
receipt,
yeah,
right?
and if you want- sure, yeah.
I get it, and we are making them colorful, and it's mostly going to be annuals. I kind of want to manage and watch the process unfold, how labor intensive it is. If Sergio is going to be able to upkeep what he has promised, but we'll look at it.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
There's plenty of place for colorful annuals, and even perennials
In the ground.
in the front, in the ground where the
Yes,
that's
irrigation
right.
system
Yes,
runs right past them.
thank you, sir.
That's my opinion.
Thanks a lot.
I'm gonna circle back a couple weeks ago, which something has been very quiet over the last week, is the billing and the charging issues. I'm not saying that it's gone away, but I do know our accounting team and our IT department at Hampton, there were a lot of people involved, and we've identified what was a technical problem, which I think that, and you saw the email that went out almost 2 weeks ago now, outlining that we've identified the problem. I think the majority of the statement and the billing issues have been addressed and resolved. Just to touch real quick, one of the things that I don't remember, it was Cheryl, I think it was Cheryl. So Jessica is still our primary accountant in Jacksonville, but we have two new people in Jacksonville. One that's been assigned to the accounts receivable and one that's been assigned to the accounts payable. Matt Tomzak and Rena, I think her last name is King, are two individuals that are going to be working with Jessica. So on the accounts payable side, we'll be able to connect with, I think it's Matt that's heading up that charge. And then on site, you know, we put a little buffer with Alexandra and Jordan, especially on billing and statement days, which was very helpful. But now it's a lot on the operations side, making sure that people are reviewing and signing their checks and that their checks are being presented to the right people. So it's a training and onboarding. Onboarding is expensive. Transition is expensive. It's just a time thing that has improved a little bit every day.
Yeah, I would just add on that, you know, I really appreciate what they're doing, Jordan and Alex are doing at the front desk. You know, I think all of us are up here enough and I hear some of the crazy things they get asked, and I think more and more it's become the front line, and I think they're doing a really good job, so I want to say thank you.
I will convey that message to them.
Yes,
Thank
It
you.
is very nice to see a little bit of structure coming back into
Yes.
the River Club and guidelines and redirecting people for sure.
I spent a couple hours this week with Ken and Mr. Moore about some financial reserve stuff. We're doing a deep dive study with the gentleman from Edward Don on kitchen equipment. He's gonna look at lifespan of things. Most of the kitchen equipment in there, I know the pizza oven is new and there's some equipment on the front line that was bought used, but we're gonna take a look at the whole thing at lifespan replacement. And so the gentleman from Edward Don, Mike Farina, will be in here this week to do that assessment. The facilities committee, I've worked with him about, and Ray is in the process of gathering quotes. He's already got a handful of quotes on things like lightning rod, lightning suppression systems, astronomical clocks that will change on a daily basis for the lights at tennis, the lights in the parking lot, rather than just a manual timer that
Nice.
fluctuates by 5 minutes a day. So those are things that Ray is working on. The food truck,
AC units,
AC units are,
it's really replacement.
Yeah, I think it's 2 replacements, right? 2 replacements on the HVAC units. I connected with, what's her name, Juliet Harmon yesterday. It might have been, actually, I think it was Sunday. It was yesterday. I connected with Juliet, they run together. I don't know which day of the week it is. Juliet Harmon about that. And so there's a little bit of a backstory. I don't want to go too much into it, but that's on deck for replacement of the 2 HVAC air conditioning.
Yeah, the facilities committee's been working hard on that, trying to figure out what the best options are. Ray's come up with some different options too. And we're just trying to make sure that all the systems are compatible, properly, do what we want. And then we've had 4 or 5 different, and one of them is going up over here in that space. And we've had answers from, oh, I can get it out of that hole, to other people saying, oh, we have to rip the whole thing apart. So we're trying to make sure that we get the right answer, because we don't want to start and find out we have the wrong answer and have the place closed down longer, have that ripped open, and create a monstrosity along the way. So it's, but the good thing is prices keep going down. Because we've had different people, different vendors, different systems, and Julia is really knowledgeable about systems.
So it's not the price is going down, it's the negotiation going up.
Well,
No, it's both. It's different equipment manufacturers that are a little hungry for business,
It was a compliment, by the way.
So, no, but between Howard and Ray, they've both been working
I get
to
it.
find different vendors to capitalize on the best price, best system, and
That's
also
great.
best understanding of how we're gonna actually accomplish this.
and to get granular, it kind of comes down to a couple things. One of the companies is farther away, so there's transportation and travel charges involved.
Okay.
So we had it narrowed down to a quote, and then somebody else came in who's local with similar who was a little better quote. We've gone back to the original and said, here's what we're looking at that's local. And to your point earlier about IBM, sometimes cheap is expensive.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that just is not all based on the price. Food truck, we have had a couple of food trucks. We did have an issue where one parked on the pavers. That's been addressed. We put mats and everything, so there was no issue. We did have the following day a food truck come out and they only sold like $150. They have a $400 minimum. We may have trouble booking some food trucks, especially if the parking is on the other side of the parking lot. We'll see how it unfolds. We have another one scheduled to arrive now. So I'm gonna have a couple of people in cones out there to make sure that they're parked in the right spot, but we'll see how that unfolds over the next few days.
Just one comment on that. I know that they're in some of the emails, or at least one of the emails, and they're kind of buried down deep.
Yeah.
So the fact that they only sold 150 could be any number of factors.
Sure.
But one, people don't read all the way down and see it, so maybe the day of or something can go out to remind people.
Or even the text system, which I find handy, occasionally we get texts, so maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's just too many emails. There's just so many
Stacks
emails.
is here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were just so many emails. I mean, like this weekend, we got inundated with so many emails, you just stop reading them because it's like.
I will take it.
It's just not publicized.
No, I will take a closer look at that. One of the things that gives me a little anxiety inside is I don't have a lot of history with most of these food trucks. So I feel a little hesitant about building them up, and please come out and see, and then only to find out that. Now, one of them last week was very good, but one of them, I wouldn't say that.
I'm only familiar with one.
Yeah, aren't we all?
Yeah, it's like I said, I don't know whether, maybe it's just what they were serving. Because I was looking at the financials, and the tiki bar was doing on average 2,500 to 3,000 last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then went to $600 on Monday and Tuesday, then back up to $2,500, $3,000 on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So
Alcohol versus alcohol plus food.
food. So we're down by 2,000 to 2,500 of food, and then alcohol. So I'm surprised it didn't translate to the food trucks, or the food trucks just wasn't what people wanted, and especially with President's Week with a lot of kids. I didn't see the food trucks. I have no idea what. Like I said, I didn't even look to see what the flyer said. I don't even know what kind of food it was. But we had there should be revenue there. somewhere, either at the tiki bar or at a food truck, as I said, their numbers just went bottomed out on Monday and Tuesday and shot back up.
Well, the weather was worse on Tuesday. Monday was nice. Monday was busy. The weather was better on Monday than Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I think Monday was a holiday, so.
Thank you.
And revenue doesn't mean profit.
No, and also volume doesn't mean success.
Right.
You know, filling, I've seen it before where I had a chef run a $2 taco special and we had 600 people on property and it was the worst day of the club. So doesn't necessarily mean it.
So I got a couple of questions on the financials for you, if you
Yes.
don't mind, just two specifically. One of them is the credit card merchant fees. I thought we were recouping those because I
Nowhere near 100%.
Okay,
It's maybe
it's
a
not,
third.
okay, that's fine. And then there's one thing that I would like, Greg to look into is there's a paid lessons line in the, fitness and pool advisory tab for $1,100. Can you look into that? I don't understand what that,
What was it?
$1,100
In-
for paid lessons in the FPAC tab,
Was that for math?
paid lessons. Why would it be in?
I think it was just in the wrong,
It might just been miscategorized.
yeah.
I guess
I'm
if we
trying to
could-
remember. I think we
if we could
actually
just
asked
look into
Carol
that.
about that.
That would be great.
Yep, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I've got some questions on the financials. If you look at wages, total compensation, whatever, we are up higher. Well, actually, I take that back. Once you take out is the commissions and bonuses listed in here in January? Is that the Christmas bonus?
No,
That's not.
One of them is probably relocation, and I had a question about the wages too, because I saw the commissions, or I'm sorry, the
Commissions. and
contract,
Yeah.
contract labor. I saw that was like more than $10,000. I think it was even closer to $30,000. Was that for temporary employees?
Yes, that was.
That should be added into, or consolidated. I don't want to dive too deep into this. I got these on
it's
Friday.
also the fitness instructors.
Fitness instructors
Yes.
and, okay.
Fitness
If
instructor
you look at the
contracted labor.
consolidated,
There's two, there's contract services and then there's contract labor, so I don't know what.
Well, go
I
to the
think contract
FPAC
labor
tab, go to the
is the
the fitness
instructors.
tab.
Yeah.
And check to see what the contract labor is there. What's the category?
Contract labor is zero.
No,
no,
it wasn't zero.
it's 16,150.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
contract
I didn't
labor,
open it.
it's, well, contract labor,
I don't know which one you're looking at the consolidated?
no, I'm looking at the fitness,
It wasn't zero.
I'm looking at,
It's not none then.
and then contract services is zero. I'm just, has contract labor 1350, the total contract, then it has instructors outside, so it says contract labor 1350. I don't know. But our labor is running high. I know you said that you've now hired, a head waiter, we're down, you're still down wait staff, the kitchen labors, inside, behind the kitchen labor seems,
Kitchen labor is definitely high.
so my concern is this, when we get rid of Vesta, the anticipation was that Vesta was overcharging us by 15 points on the burden, and that was gonna become a savings to,
Oh, huge savings.
but
We're seeing it.
I don't see it, labor's higher.
I'm not talking about labor, you just talked about benefits.
But I'm talking about total, but they've increased, the benefits are down, but they increased the labor cost. So the overall package of labor and benefits is now zero, is now higher than last year.
Until this month, labor had been running lower and all of a
I know,
sudden.
but we also did-
So now, yeah, I think they've
But
added.
Luciana came on in December, Kat came on in December, so as we're ramping up, and Matt didn't come on till, as we're ramping up the people,
Year to date, we're still below budget.
but we didn't have people for a couple of months, we didn't have people for months, so now the people are here, labor is really high, and I'm afraid if we extrapolate that, of course, the next 8 months.
What I don't know, Rich, is it's been running below until January. January ran high, and I don't know if it's because the pay period is different than the budget pay period. So I was
Some of it was back pay to the instructor, to the fitness instructors that wasn't paid for.
That wouldn't be in salaries and wages.
So I'm just bringing it as a concern.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that
I
it's
noticed the
really.
same thing, January was the first month that
And
salaries and wages
yeah.
is over budget.
And January is also the month where everybody's now geared up to actually being here. So I want to make sure that this does not become.
Well, and salaries are always higher in season,
I'm
right?
comparing it to last year.
Okay.
I'm not comparing it to October, I'm comparing it year
Are you-
upon year and
but
totals.
Are you adding the quick labor in from last year? Because keep in
Mm-hmm.
mind, Vesta
Yeah.
had a ton of
Yeah,
contracted
they
labor
did.
coming in, you gotta
That's
combine the
exactly
two
right.
lines.
No, they really didn't, it's only 3,400.
Yeah, last
Oh,
year was
it was
not,
only
it's not
3,400?
very,
I thought it was,
Yeah,
okay, I thought it
last
was
year
more
was not
than
very
that,
big.
my bad.
what
No,
I
no,
did.
but in January.
What I did is I took every line item, I took every line item cost here.
Yeah.
Threw it over here. And our
Yeah,
January total.
even with contract labor, it's about 7,000, salaries and wages is about 7,000
That's-
over.
Okay,
We're very,
It's the first, I agree with you, it's the first month.
Yeah, $4,500.
I don't know if it's just a pay period
It's
or
not,
problem,
It
or
might be onboarding.
they've hired
Because on
enough
onboarding, you
people
gotta
now.
double
You
up.
just hit on a lot of it. A lot of it's
Onboarding
onboarding.
is
As
key.
you
Yeah.
bring on new people, you basically carry
Two people.
two people
Two
for
people.
one.
exactly.
Hours of operation, I can tell you the coverage at the front desk is an extra
Yeah.
2, 4, 6 or 7 hours a week. So that's a 2-day a week, 3-day a week where the hours of operation have been expanded at the front desk. But what Cheryl said, it hits right on it. It's transition is expensive.
oh, I
Hiring
get it.
new people is expensive.
And
I
I'm
get
guessing
that.
some of the positions are probably higher than what was
Yeah.
budgeted.
Some of them are probably higher
Yeah.
than what was budgeted. Some of the salary positions are probably higher than what was
But
budgeted.
benefits,
I
just
know.
tells you how much
No,
we were overpaying.
I know,
last year.
trust me, I know, I told
I
you it
know
should be
you
50, with like 50, should be closer to 14, 15 points, not 30.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that the labor is looked at, and the understanding is that we are expecting our overall payroll benefits, compensation, however you want to talk about it, total employee, all in, should be about 15% lower than last year. That's kind of what we had in mind.
As long as
not-
you're comparing apples to apples, and as long as the hours of operation are the same,
Yeah.
as long as the expectation level is the same, as long as all of these different variables, you can't just look at one number without considering the rest. But I feel comfortable and confident that you're gonna see a lower payroll to revenue ratio than you've ever seen before. I know that our overall sales for the month of January were 10,000 more than not only January of last year, but probably historically any January that you've had. I know Vesta was here for 5 or 6 years. Once Hampton's here for not 5 or 6 years, but 1 year or even 6 months, I think you're gonna start to see a level off and the increase in revenue and a decrease in the payroll to revenue ratio. So when you see the revenue going up, you're gonna see the payroll going up incrementally. So fair questions, great questions, and things that certainly are being looked at and addressed. I'll even give you a little deeper drill down. When I looked at the two different, when I look at the operation of the clubhouse, I see front of the house, back of the house, kind of as two separate and distinct entities, even though they're symbiotic in nature. One doesn't work without the other. The back of the house payroll came in about $10,000 high. The front of the house payroll came in within a couple $100 of the budget, which to me, I'm still looking at it saying, there's a lead server position that has a slightly higher hourly rate that hasn't even been employed for 3 months. But that person will help with efficiency, with onboarding and training, to help settle down. Instead of having 6 servers on the floor, we will get to a point where we can have 4 servers on the floor. And the chef is going through a little bit of that onboarding and transitionary stage in the back of the house too. So 100%, we're paying attention to it, we're watching it every month.
Are Chef, Luciano, Kat, are they getting copies of financials so they can see what they're doing?
They are. I don't know, they haven't gotten copies yet because this segues perfectly into the next part of the conversation. This is 4 months in, this isn't even the final financial. So I sat with Kat, Luciano, Matt, all of them in my office individually and gone through their departments to show them what the budget is for expenses, where they stand on revenue, where they stand on payroll, how it fluctuates based on the budget. So each one of them have spent multiple hours with me going through their individual respective departments. And I will get to the point within the next 90 days where I'm handing out budgets for their department to them individually. So to answer your questions, yes, they've been educated and informed and have access to them until Ken, which I'll say thank you to Ken and Carol, because the customization of this financial statement for this particular property is extremely labor intensive. And you have spent a lot of time back and forth, and I know Carol and some of her people. So when we get to the point where you all say, this is the one that we're gonna go with and we're gonna leave it alone, then they'll be distributed. But what I don't wanna do is distribute partial, incomplete, inaccurate, where we're getting to the point where this is there is not gonna be another property in Hampton's portfolio that has this reporting system. This is very tailored and specific to this property.
So I have a question for you in regard to your forecast.
Yeah.
Because I like the fact that we have the forecast in here. This is something that we've never seen before. Based on the way we're tracking, do you foresee us having any like tightening of the belt per se as we head in towards the end of our fiscal year of this year?
If we have to, we've already talked about strategies.
You've got a
There's
strategy for it?
strategies
Okay.
or solutions that
Okay.
we can do that.
Okay,
One of them is, you and I touched on it real quickly yesterday about different aspects and hours of operation. That's what it really all comes down to, is the strategic decisions that are made about operations.
Mhm.
That's where most of the bleed is. So there are options, but to be honest with you, I don't see
you don't see
a
this.
challenge right
Okay,
now,
okay, good.
especially when I see the most accurate financial I have seen since I've been here was January.
Mhm.
And I look at January's revenue being $10,000 higher
Right,
than any month in the history of the Venetian River Club for January. Not any month, but any January dating back. That just tells me, okay, it's coming.
okay,
We're,
That's what I was
we're,
asking.
we're starting to pick up some momentum. The people that came here once a month are now twice a month.
Mhm, mhm.
I think that our reputation and the word of mouth is getting better. We're a long ways from where we need to be, but does anybody else have because it's not like we went from 1,100 homes to 1,300 homes.
Right,
It's 1,300 homes, or whatever that exact number is. But for some reason, and I can only think that it's word of mouth and being a little bit more consistent and having better events or different events. I mean, you guys see the numbers, we're $10,000 higher than January of 25. And that's after they had 5 or 6 years of being here to get things in shape.
They're drinking more.
That's part of it. The liquor's up, the wine's up, but we're not in the soft beverage business.
Well, I love
expect.
this
Small
at some
dollars.
point down the road to look at penetration. Because I think that's where our revenues are gonna go up is penetration, both with people already coming here, but frankly, people who aren't coming here or maybe used to come here and don't, but can come here. That's the potential.
Well, you hit on something that I did for the first time in my career in conjunction with Justin in our marketing department, is the penetration. I put a pause with Justin with a long explanation of why we don't want to reach out to everybody right now.
I get that, yeah.
Because we want the people that have stayed away or after going through the survey results, 770 responses last year.
Mhm.
It's important that when we reach out and get that penetration, when they come back, they see something different, not the same old thing.
Right.
And it's a process to get to the point where we are what we should be. That makes sense?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I've got a calendar appointment with Justin, I think it's March 2nd or March 6th, where we're gonna reopen the dialogue about when and how.
Cool.
Just word of mouth comments I'm hearing from people, and you guys have your own people you talk to. It's also positive. You know, it really is. I sat next to last night, some fairly new residents who were coming here all the time, more frequently, and just can't say enough positive about it. And they were golf club members, and like me, We don't have dinner at the golf club because it's so bad.
It is so bad.
Yeah.
And compared to here, it's night and day.
Good.
Yeah, and the direction of the emails that provide constructive input, I'll say, the direction has changed. We get different types of constructive input than what we were getting.
And once the billing situation.
Yes,
The building thing was huge.
Settled
Yes.
down, I mean, that was the noise.
Sure.
yes,
Now it's
I
positive
agree.
noise on food. And service is getting better.
100% agree.
Good.
And I just got one last comment. I had mentioned it before. In the jail, we have Keith going out and buying decorations.
Yeah, I got that noted.
We have a whole locker full of decorations that we're spending $400 a month to store decorations.
Yeah.
We need to spend another $750 in a month of January for more decorations. I mean, it's just, we just have to.
It's something I promise you, we'll take a look at. I can only tell you, the last decorative job I did in California for Christmas, we paid $3,500 for Christmas decorations. So I'm not saying that it's an apples to apples comparison. I'm just telling you, when we hire an independent company to come in and do decorations for Thanksgiving, Easter, Mother's Day, brunch with Santa, it's thousands of dollars. I'm not saying, hear me, I'm not saying that what we're currently doing is the best solution. It's not. It's being looked at, it's being worked on, we're gonna strategize. Jill and I, last week, made a trip to our facility, our storage
I
lockers,
broke something.
and broke something. But I think that was the first time either one of us had been there to really see, and why it morphed into that from, which reminds me, I have an appointment with the attorney on Friday about the storage, that space that's no longer available on site. So
Right.
holiday decorations, things like that. We had a little memorial service yesterday for the Charlie Brown tree that we parted with. But it's steps in the right direction.
Okay, perfect.
And it's being looked at, not, and again, hear me when I tell you, I'm not advocating that the way we've always done it or the way it's being done is the right way to do it. But I can tell you, we've had some very good commentary and feedback on the decorations. And I can also tell you that independent decorators from the outside are thousands of
I
dollars.
get that. I'm not saying not to do it. I'm just saying I want it to be done smartly and with a plan and
It was.
not left.
And I
You
think-
got $700 worth of good press out of that. That's a gorgeous
that
tree.
balance.
More people took the pictures in front of that tree than I've
I'm
ever
not talking,
seen.
yeah.
I think
Just on an ongoing
This
basis.
is not, this was the Keith going out and buying stuff
Yeah.
and
And I think
Oh,
that was a
it was all
lot, if it
designed.
was January, it was probably for Valentine's. It could have been for Cupid. And I, being at the Cupid thing, everybody I talked to said, wow, I wish this was decorated like this all the time.
He
It
has,
was beautiful.
He doesn't.
So then the question
It's a good
becomes, is we've got a full storage locker of Valentine's
It has
stuff.
To be
Yeah, that-
And
organized.
we need
Candy
to,
canes.
and candy canes and everything else for every holiday. Can that be reused? How many people here have Rubbermaid bins full of their Christmas stuff that they go back and reuse every year and then just add a little bit on?
And if we
And I
can't use it,
think
throw it out.
that if
Get rid
we
of it.
can't use it, throw it out, get rid of it, but let's go to the source first rather than just going to the store to buy.
Right, and I
That's my,
think you're
I guess
saying,
That was
that's
my,
the point,
that was my
yeah.
I
point.
think you're saying duly noted, that it's on your list,
it is.
right?
I know
Duly
you said all
noted,
the time about it.
yes.
It is, and I have to tell you, Keith cares. He does
Oh, he
an
does.
amazing, he
Without
does
a
an
doubt.
amazing
Without a doubt.
job.
He does.
Yes.
He's autonomous with doing it. He has stepped up and taken ownership of something that was not what he was hired for.
Mm-hmm.
But out of 2,500 people, 2,400 compliment on how nice it is.
Mm-hmm.
No
So
doubt.
it is being duly noted and looked at, and I'm grateful that Keith has owned it and taken it, because we haven't, what Ken just said is true. We had more people comment about the Christmas tree and the pictures in front of the Christmas tree. And that was, now we did hire 2 people to come in to help him for one day, and we paid them both $100. But he had 2 assistants for one day. So I just want to say kudos to the job that he's
Oh,
done
absolutely.
and the amount that he cares. And what happened yesterday, that wasn't my decision, that was his decision. He heard the message, and rest in peace to the Charlie Brown tree. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Really helpful, thanks.
Yeah, good.
Appreciate it. Good.
So before we move on, does anybody need a
Yeah,
break?
I was just gonna say, quick, take a break
Yes.
before we, yes.
Do we want a 10-minute break?
Sure, that'd be great, yeah,
And
thanks.
Dan are here?
Morning, Dan.
Yeah,
Belinda? Oh, October. But I looked at the annual budget for the River Club and I compared it to the budget they're showing, and they're different,
There.
number one. Number two, Carol keeps talking about revising the budget. And I wrote back to her saying, I don't think we can change the budget. I think the budget's the budget. You can change the forecast, and some things will be higher, some things will be lower. Even in, the actual is gonna come out different from the budget. But the budget was at a point in time, and I don't think we can change it. So I said I talked to you about
It's
it.
a huge undertaking, to be honest, Ken, because
Yeah.
of your numbers and the financials, based on, for us, meaning because of the consolidated statement. So I don't know how it would affect, depending on, I would guess, the line items, how it'll affect. Vanessa did bring it to my attention when she started working on October, because it's taken her a really long time to have to go through every single line item and review, because they're budget items that just are not, what is in the River Club budget.
Yeah.
She just finished November. She sent November to me on Friday for review. I haven't had a chance to review November yet. I'll probably get to it later today. But it's quite an undertaking for the consolidated statement. Do I recommend you amend it at this point? No, because you're still gonna have to have a budget amendment if you're gonna be over budget at the end of the fiscal year. I just think that they need to adjust the line items to match what is in the actual budget at this point.
So shift the actuals. Okay.
So the budget's the budget.
Yeah, that's what I would suggest.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And
And
I
then,
didn't want them to do a lot of work
Right.
redoing a budget, because we can't
Yeah,
change it
so
anyway.
what should happen is before we go into our budget workshop or we start working on the proposed budgets, I'll have to work with Hampton on what they need line item wise to be able to put it into the consolidated worksheet that ties into everything. So that we can change that.
Yeah.
Going forward.
And that should probably be a line item by line item. I mean, one thing that.
But we'll-
Oh, yeah, it will be. It will be.
But some of your line items aren't lining up with the line items in the budget. And we try to fix a lot of that,
Yeah.
between you and I and Carol, but
Yeah,
it's still,
And I'm still having some issues of trying to understand what
yeah.
is now in that, and
I know.
I can't look at anything to see what that now encompasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very challenging. I mean, I got a call from Vanessa on a Saturday and I looked at it and I couldn't help her because I didn't understand. So then I think she reached out to someone on the Hampton side and she was able to, put some of the numbers together to understand where things had been, posted,
I
but
think Carol, was it Jessica, was the accountant for us?
Carol.
Carol.
Well,
Carol's our
Jessica's,
boss.
yeah, Jessica's our representative.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
The
the
two of
first few statements, I think, once, if they adjust to what the actual budget line items are, then it should be a little bit easier putting together a consolidated statement.
Yeah.
But November's you should have this week. She confirmed now via Teams that she got the financials on Friday, the most recent ones, so she'll be working on those as well, and then
This
get
is
caught up.
Greg.
Right.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna take a 10-minute break at 10:58 a.m.
10 o'clock at night, you show them.
We're live.
And when you gotta wake up and do it.
Oh,
Okay,
all righty.
and we are back on the record at 11:08 a.m. All right, so supervisors, we're gonna move backwards to the district engineer report. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning. I passed out stuff for everybody, so for the first line, the item in the agenda 5B1 is the roadway lifespan maps. They're in the agenda, but I wanted to give them to you, 11 by 17, a little bit easier to read. But I did want to go through that page that was on top of that, which is the cost. I've been working with Ken, and Ken had a meeting with the reserve committee last week. So we went through, and when we're doing roadway rejuvenation, that's really most effective for roads that are 6-year remaining life and longer. The ones that are less than that, we've lost so much, the aggregate, and it's really doesn't benefit as much as it does for the older. So that's why I've separated those first 3 columns to show what the mill and the overlay cost would be. So that's what I wanted to give you. We do have one piece identified as the red, so that's within the next 2 years we should redo. And again, if you want to do more than that, because sometimes it doesn't look good to, start, stop, so, but I wanted to give that to you so you could review.
Okay, wait, looking at this, I think I put this up once before, I don't remember the answer. But back before I joined the board, there was always talk about doing the potholes in Portofino and also, and I guess Passaro. I mean, not the potholes, the manholes. Yeah, they're pretty bad. And we did some work on Portofino and paved it, but then left all the manholes on the other side of it still. So we had guys here not doing it, raised it and not doing it. Could we figure out, I mean, if we're gonna keep Passaro, especially Passaro, for 10 more years, those raised manholes are dangerous, especially on a golf
I
cart.
agree, they're bad.
And if
You're
we're,
right.
Even in a car,
and
I
if
go.
we're thinking about making it more activity with back access and more people on that road, you can't avoid those things. And if you're forced on a golf cart to go over them because there's a car on the other side
Oh,
of the
you're
road,
launching.
you're gonna go flying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, great.
I think we need to look at some of those things and address those issues.
And with those, typically you'll go 25 foot each way and redo that. We probably don't, we maybe mini mill at the 25 foot mark and then just.
Do we need to go to that extent? I mean, can we just do something smaller?
You
that's
can,
reasonable? Because I don't wanna spend,
But they've done something
they're
smaller,
only
and that's
out
the
about-
problem we've got right now.
They're only out a few feet
Yeah,
now.
Exactly.
Which is why they're steep.
yes.
It makes it
That's
a
what
little
I'm
dangerous.
saying. If we go 25, if you're in the county or the state, they want a 50-foot patch. That's their
50
their
foot in
standards.
diameter, right,
No.
from each
length.
side,
Well,
total
what
length, okay.
So like I said, if I go 25 one way, 25 the other, but that's your,
That's a lot.
but that is like the standard. We could go less, absolutely. I could go 10 foot. If I go 3, it is. like-
Well, right now,
Yeah, that's probably
if you look at them, you just kind of you just hit them. And there's probably this much of a difference
between the
around them,
pavement, yeah,
about 3
exactly.
feet around. And you hit it, and you can hit it hard.
Mhm.
If it can just be, graded a
Up
little
to
bit
it.
more, it doesn't have to be 25 feet, but, maybe,
Right. Well, I did.
8 or 10.
Yeah, because the manhole is sticking up above the pavement level by an inch or two.
Yeah,
So
so it's
even-
not smooth.
Yeah, so even if you just smooth that out,
Yeah.
I think it would be helpful. So as we're looking at those things, I think we need to look at getting the roads safe.
Yeah, because if we're gonna do rejuvenation, the reclamite, that's no thickness per
Correct,
se.
correct.
So we definitely need to do that for those.
So that's something we should, definitely want to look into as we,
Okay.
if you can
note
get that on the agenda,
But
get
you
that on your-
probably, you're probably not gonna get a vendor in here for several years, are you? I mean, that one strip of red, you're gonna get somebody to come in and pave that for $60,000? Why wouldn't you combine it with 2 to 4?
I
Yeah.
mean, there, some of the cul-de-sacs, those get beat up the worst.
Yeah.
You got garbage trucks coming in, and there's just that constant turning motion
Yeah.
destroys them.
No,
So
but the only red you have here is.
the only red we're
Pretty
right
small.
now,
And
but
the
you know, we
yellow
may
is
want to.
contiguous.
We
The
may
yellow
wanna
is
do-
continuous down Padova, yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
Mastry Place.
we may want to look at possibly taking that all the way down, that yellow and the.
That bit of
and the red
orange.
at the
And that
same
bit of
time.
orange down Montaluna Court, yeah.
And then when the guys are here, have them do the work on Passaro and whatever.
Right.
Get it all done at once.
Well, my point though, Rich, is, in my opinion, it seemed like you wouldn't bring somebody in that 0 to 2 period. You just
Correct.
stretch it out
But we could.
and combine it with the 2 to 4.
Yeah, but we could. Yeah, because some of the 0
I mean, cost effectively, you could get somebody in.
I think so. The
Well,
0
then I would
to
have them look at
2
the manhole.
I've already got some base failures. It's just a matter of time. Potholes are going to happen. When you see the road will look like the alligator reef, that's because there's a base failure. So it's just a matter of time before the moisture seeps through all of them and it gets worse. Right now, I could correct that with just a mill and the overlay. If we wait too much, I may have to go down deeper with the base.
A question too, like I noticed almost across the street from me, this is on Portofino it's the, what portion is it? It's the green portion, 10 to 12 years, is that right? No, it's gonna be orange. The gutter, I guess I'll call it, is pretty badly deteriorated. So my question is, when you look at the age of the roadways, is there any consideration for the state of the guttering, or is that a completely separate animal?
The concrete?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a separate.
It's a completely separate thing. Okay, so that's something that could just be fixed.
Yeah, when you replace gutter, it's pretty difficult to be as clean and
Yeah.
neat, so you end up doing a little 1 foot
Yeah.
patch of.
Well, we have a whole probably 10 or 12 foot area that just is now pooling water. And you may have noticed
Well,
that
I
it's from front of Mickey's
I also
house.
sent an email to Keith and Rick on Portofino between, and I only know this because I walked there, between like 230 and 190 on the odd side, the gutter is, in front of every driveway, the gutter is, I mean, you had some pictures,
Crumbling, right?
you had pictures here of gutters that you're replacing, the gutters on Portofino are worse than the ones you're replacing, so I think rather than, and I know we're gonna look at proposing these, but I think before we start doing a few gutters here and a few gutters there, I think we really need to understand what the gutters really are before we start spending a little bit of money today, a little bit of money tomorrow. Because I think we have a lot bigger problem than, as I said, I really not noticed the ones by you, but I noticed the ones
It's right in front of Mickey's house.
closer to my house. The ones in front of my house are fine, so I'm not, so I'm not saying anything. I have a sidewalk in front of my house, but not the gutters, but the gutters by the first Valenza Loop area is really bad.
Yeah, and I guess I was asking because I know that when we did the milling and repaving, the gutters aren't really touched anyway, so
Right.
that's really why I was asking. Kind
Yeah,
of Rich's point.
gutters, we have a lot of the hairline cracks throughout gutters, sidewalks. And, you know, if we want to address all of them, you're spending probably over $100,000.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't talking headline.
This is
crash.
actually road deterioration,
But
but it
on
needs
the
to go.
curbs, the main thing
Yeah.
I look at is, you know, if it's kind of close to where the sidewalk or, where their mailboxes are, if they're gonna be walking over and tripping and falling over that. I look for that, but also puddling, that is another big.
Yeah, maybe I can send you and Keith a picture.
Because a lot of times
It
I'm
never
not
rains
out here
again.
when it's raining, so I don't get to see that,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah, yeah, or after irrigation, so I'll take a picture of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in regard to the road repaving or the milling and everything, are you asking us to make a recommendation on what you want?
I'm not sure what your budget is. So,
Okay.
well, you know, when you're going to your.
We're using this to update the reserve.
That's just to
Okay.
update the reserve at this point, okay?
But for the
Okay,
next
thank you.
cycle, I probably would like to see something. in
Some
there.
action on our part.
We've had money
Okay.
in building up
Yes,
historically,
yes,
so, and then we just update it every 3 years. And this is why he's
this is
providing
why
this
he
to
did
us
this.
now.
And then
Great.
maybe within the next 12, maybe less than 12 months, we can take action on some of this then, you think we
Yeah.
can? Okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah, certainly the 0 to 2 and the manhole
Okay,
covered.
okay, cool, thank you.
Okay, the next thing that was in your package of stuff that I left was the sidewalk repairs.
Yeah,
We did get bids, we got 3 bids. And I highlighted a couple of the items because there was a couple that were added on, so that would include that. Now, I was looking at that and some of the sidewalks that Keith marked up are actually the 8 foot, not the 5.
yeah.
So I'm gonna have to make a slight adjustment with that. But 3 bids, 22,260, 22,909, and 23,303. So 3 very good competitive numbers. I recommend we go with the low bidder. And again, they're at 22,260. I would like a not to exceed of 22,500 if I could.
So
And that way.
it's just sidewalks, not gutters, because you have pictures of gutters.
There are some gutters involved in that. In that package that was in there, it shows both of them.
So can
And if we wanted to add, we
Well, I
could.
mean,
I would like to make a,
because I sent you pictures, I sent you pictures and you said, we're not doing gutters, and now you're doing gutters. So I'm confused because the pictures I showed you are worse than any gutters that you have pictures of here, but those were being left off. So I'm just,
Yeah, those are $70 a piece. So we could add, like I said, if I could get a little bit higher, not to exceed.
I agree with you.
Well-
You familiar with all 3 companies?
Yes.
And you think they're all equally good?
Did one of these guys do the, oh, no, they wouldn't have done the speed pillows that we have
No,
on.
that's
Sorry, yeah.
coming up.
Because they were very
That's
good. No,
coming
those
up.
guys are very good. I wasn't sure.
But yeah, but A&J does a lot of stuff in
Maybe that's where I know
here.
the name.
If
Yeah.
there's like an emergency repair, we always reach out to them. They've got the knowledge to do major things, but they're a smaller
So
company, but they could handle all that kind of stuff.
and that would be your recommendation for the vendor?
No, I would go with the low bidder.
Okay, because I was gonna recommend that we go with a 24,000 not to exceed and then let Rick work
Okay.
with whoever vendor it is to repair them the gutters
Yeah, I
that
mean,
are on the side as well.
I think the gutters need, you can't do some and not do others because it's,
How do we know about it?
yeah,
Sure,
yeah.
yeah.
So
So-
I think, so I don't, and quite frankly, I think there are sidewalks that are still missed.
Well, we're never gonna get them all. I mean, there are, if you think about the fact that we have 12 miles of road, so we have 24 miles of sidewalk because there's sidewalks on each side.
Except up a Sarah and Veneto.
Well, Keith
Okay.
and I on
So
Tuesday
23.
last week had a field trip. I was on foot with my water bottle and Keith.
And I was driving.
With his Yeah, so I did, woo! And so anyway, we marked, a number of them. Actually, I found another one yesterday, but I think we'll always find them.
Yeah.
That's my point,
Yeah.
is
I
I
that,
keep chalk in my
I know,
golf
but I
cart
just wanna
now.
make sure we get the majority, because I know,
Yeah.
because I know Tim has mentioned, as his homeowners association, he's sent it several times and they keep on, and these period, I don't know if they got picked up.
they're
this
on the
time,
map. His
but, okay.
Treviso stuff is on the
But
map,
he said-
as is Brunello.
But he said a lot of stuff was missed, so I
Well,
don't know.
in
I
that
don't know.
particular part of the community, the
Yeah.
people that built the sidewalks did not properly saw cut the areas. You've got 20-foot
Yes.
stretches
Yes, yeah,
with no saw
no
cuts.
saw cuts,
And
yeah.
Exactly.
concrete cracks. And if there's no trip hazard, it's an aesthetic kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if you want us to repair them, I can. And what I would do is I would cut out and make a 5-foot joint in the middle of that. But, I didn't see anything that was in violation of the ADA. Anything else in there. So I did go back to relook. There was a vehicle parked over top of one spot, and I found two once that vehicle pulled out of the way. So I added 3 going back. After Tim sent that out, there were 3 or 4 more in the areas.
So can I suggest that we approve this not to exceed 24,000?
Mhm.
And then you give us a deadline for when you need to be notified of stuff that is not on the listing.
Well,
Yes.
he says it's $70 $70 a gutter,
Yeah.
For a patch. Correct.
so that gives us.
Oh, you have a lot of room.
Yeah.
Plenty of room with the
So I would just
24,000.
say go ahead, Rich,
Not that much.
for $70 a patch. That gives you like $1,500.
Yeah, because I've got there's a,
Remember now, it's this patch, it's not taking the gutter out and replacing it with cement.
Fill
Do you
in
want to
the-
go 25
You want to
then?
fill in the
You wanna
crack.
go 25?
I'd go to 26, just to be safe.
Okay. Then, so a motion not to exceed 26,000 to go with asphalt remedies and notifications to Rick within the next 2 weeks of areas that are not on the original plan.
Yes, so by no later than
Well,
like
who's gonna-
March.
Who's
March
gonna make the
9th.
decision of that, we can notify who's gonna make the final decision, is that gonna be Rick?
Right.
Keith, between Keith and
Okay, so there's a motion by Cheryl. Cheryl,
I second it.
that would be subject to preparation of an agreement by council.
Yes.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Second by Rich. Any further discussion?
Because once rainy season comes, those things that you kind of.
All those in favor, please say
Aye.
aye.
Catch up.
Okay, the next item, 5B3, speed bumps and speed humps. I got you
Yes.
the handout. We got 6 bids, like Rich mentioned a little bit earlier. Contractors are seeming like they're a little hungrier, but also I've got, in another community, I've got a project out for about $300,000. So some of the bigger contractors responded back. These are for the speed bumps and speed humps. And I got 6 bids ranging from just under $7,900 to basically $12,800, and one contractor that was way out there. So, but I would, again, recommend a little bit.
I have a question. So which one is 3 speed humps?
That is the one
You're not
out in
doing
front
one
of
of
the golf.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry,
Pissarro.
the bumps. So but which one aren't you doing? 'Cause
We're
there's
not
4.
doing the north side of the cul-de-sac side of
The
Montaluna.
cul-de-sac side.
The
Okay.
south side of Montaluna, we're doing
Thank
Padova
you.
and north.
Yeah,
I just
that
wanted-
package shows it. If you look
Yeah,
under.
Yeah.
I just
breakdown.
wanted to make sure I knew.
Yep.
Yeah, the
Makes
breakdown, I kind of spell it out to see.
All works for me.
so,
And again, those are gonna be 1 foot off the curb into the center line of the roadway. And there was a question on the location. If I had it 6 foot back from the stop
Perfect.
bar, you drive over the stop bar, you stop at the stop sign.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you continue on.
yeah,
So some comments are that it's propelling you through. It didn't me on any of them. I think they're good.
I think the issue is not propelling. The issue that I've heard is people get over the bump and then they don't actually stop at the stop sign. So you see,
Right.
that's why people are thinking if you have it right at the stop sign, you have to stop. And then you slowly go over the bump and keep
And
it.
if you're too far back,
And if I thought if it was further back, I'd slow down and then stop at the
At
stop
the
sign.
exact opposite would happen, they would accelerate.
Yeah, so I think it's half a dozen of one, sixth of another, so,
Okay.
It should be a standard.
but I know, I keep hearing complaints.
So my biggest issue with those speed bumps is I wish we would have kept them going all the way across the sidewalk. Because I can't tell you how many times people have been near, or, all the way across the street. Because people are going around them. I saw it yesterday. If I would have caught the plate number, I would have given it to Keith. Because it's absolutely ridiculous.
We
There
need
was
to-
no attempt to stop.
We need to get those little metal things that they have in the parking lots. No.
The ones that deflate your
They're-
tires.
It hurts.
they're-
It hurts.
Yeah, exactly. The
Contributed
punctures.
justice.
So, okay, this looks good.
So question for the board then, based on, things that happened last year.
One of the, just one other question, to talk about speeding or slowing down. Rumble strips always are effective. We look into that, put a few rumble strips in.
I've not ever put one in a development.
Because I wouldn't
before.
wanna do
Usually when
that.
you're at high speed.
I wouldn't want to do that on, like, put a Padova because of homes and the noise, but on Veneto.
Maybe all of Veneta Boulevard should just be one rumble strip.
And again, that would
That's in-
I don't know, I think we need to
probably,
back her
It
that
cuts
one.
into the pavement.
that
Yeah.
would be a concern with the emergency vehicles.
Yeah.
That's
that's
something I have to get through all of them. The speed cushions, they pass right over them. At the speed bumps, at the stop sign, they're supposed to be, even though they're emergency vehicles also, they're supposed to slow down and make sure that it's clear. So there is no issues with what we're planning on.
Okay,
So before we approve this then, the question for the board is, should we also have an email that goes out to the community letting people know this is happening so we don't get hate mail again?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Is that something we can ask Keith to do?
You still get hate mail. but-
Yeah, but
You'll get it- you'll get it
I got some
earlier.
cookies too though from
Yeah,
somebody.
we deserve-
I wanted to point out that the company that did the first ones, they're the third bidder on with this, so.
Well, my
Oh,
question
right.
to you is gonna be, this is an enormous gap.
Just between the first 5 and the 6th. The first 5, yeah, I mean, you got, the last couple are big vendors that have the overhead, which, like I said, they probably won't want to give me a bid because they want to get that $300,000 job that I have
Oh,
out.
I see.
So which one are you recommending?
I go with the local bidder.
Advanced?
Yeah.
Okay.
And these
Okay.
speed bumps at the stop signs are the exact same speed bumps that we have right now?
That's what I called out, the low profile ones.
Okay, thank you.
The 2-inch ones.
Great, thank you.
And again, when I'm looking at this, these first 3 vendors could easily handle smaller asphalt paving jobs, and I would get competitive numbers with that. So, there's the big guys, but there's also these middle.
We talked before about sometimes you get what you pay for, and picking the low bidder isn't necessarily the best thing to do.
Correct.
But you're comfortable with all 3 of these?
Yeah, I don't like to invite bidders that are a concern. So I guess I would need, if we.
I'll make a motion
We
that
need a motion.
we approve Advanced Asphalt to do the speed bump.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
Which leads me right into the next.
Well,
item.
before we leave that though, so are we asking if once you know when we're close to doing it, can you work with Keith
Yes.
to just say, this is a summary of where it's happening? It doesn't, just needs to tell people
Yes.
where we don't need to hear from you, it's happening.
You could just take out this whole left section here on this one, and this is
It
where,
doesn't have all the streets on it.
Yeah.
oh, yeah,
And
okay.
can you just, and also when they actually start the work, can we just make sure that Keith, you and Dan, or somebody's overseeing them on the first one to make sure they get it right?
What are you saying, Rich?
I mean, you don't want it to go all the way across the road and have to come back. Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now that leads me into the last thing that I have, the signage. The bid package is out, the bids are due Friday. That includes, basically the, faded signs that are out there. There's 14 of them, but also this includes the sign for the new speed humps. And that's the post and the sign. And I do have one bid already, and it is gonna fall within the spending authority of the chair. So I just wanna let you kind of know that, because I wanna get that sign up as soon as those speed humps come in. So,
Sounds good.
and that's all I had.
Cool, thank you, Rick. Thank you.
Dan, did you have anything to report?
Quickly, first off, I just want to know, I appreciate you guys being accommodating.
Of course.
Yes.
Gosh, yeah.
Again, it's not unnoticed, and I appreciate it. The only real update I had for you all was that I believe it was previously sent out in regards to the question about suspensions for non-payment of room dues.
Yeah.
Carla did that research.
Yes.
And it's kind of basically, yes, everything it would be a lien that runs with the property. But I believe it was, you could lien on the charges, suspend the RFID, suspend admission to mother and the daughter. So I think it was whether or not you could it was a yes, basically everything you requested, and just how that worked out.
And do we need to do, if we discover that they haven't, in the worst case scenario, if they have not gotten any notices from us, do we need to do a 30, 60, 90-day notice, or can we just send them a 90-day notice and it's done?
I would have to double check what your rules say, but
Okay.
I believe probably one notice is enough, but I would have to confirm that, because I haven't had a chance to look through what your notice requirements are. I always have, I will say, there's no such thing as too much due process. So it's always, more notices are always better, because
Fair enough.
worst case
You know
scenario is,
what? We can do them 2 weeks apart,
Yeah.
right? You can do the first one to 30 days, the second one goes in 2 weeks or 60 days.
Okay.
It doesn't mean you have to wait the whole,
You don't have to wait the whole time period.
I don't think so, because you're still giving them some notice, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple, yeah, it's on page 5. In the event a member's account remains unpaid for a
Maybe do
period
go
of 30
first.
days after the date of the monthly statement,
For what?
is repeatedly delinquent in payment, the River Club owner and or
That takes
manager
in for
may
the,
limit the charge for delinquent accounts. The River Club owner may, at its option, take whatever action it deems necessary to effect collection, including suspension of River Club privileges, RFID gate access, and legal action.
But we can jump, that sounds like we can jump right to.
Yeah.
30-day
yeah.
notice, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
26.
All right.
Why-
All right,
Page
Jay,
five.
Why wait?
Why wait at this point? We wait.
I asked about the lien.
the lead, yeah.
That's always there.
Well, I just wanted to,
Yeah.
Liens are always, it's always been a question about how far you want to take it with liens, especially as these.
I get it, it was purely an academic, 3-year-old type of question. Can we?
Well, no, because it's actually, it does have consequences in
Yeah.
your application, because I deal with it differently, and a lot of it depends on how your documents are written,
Okay.
but how you go, since it's, ultimately, if they want to sell it, if it runs the property, you collect it when they try to sell
Yeah,
it.
there you
Because that's
go.
your cloud on the title.
That's the point.
But I have other districts or communities that it's just a lien, so we have to file a judgment, and I've been filing lawsuits.
And it costs money.
It costs money, and whether or not you
Yeah, that's
do
what
that.
it boils down
And
to.
it's
Yeah.
basically what's your appetite for that. So That's,
No free.
that's where it is. That we have it on the property is like, kind of basically wait 20 years.
Yep.
See what happens,
Yeah,
if you want.
So I've got a question for you,
Yes.
if you're done with that piece.
Yes.
This is actually in regard to agenda item 6I. Several weeks ago, I had had a conversation with Andy regarding an individual who has been commented on, I gotta be very careful how I use this verbiage,
Okay.
about possibly working the reservation system with the tennis courts. We have no positive proof of anything. And basically, Andy told me that we cannot single out an individual. So my thought on it is there a way for us to go about doing anything with the individual without any direct proof, other than actually saying to this individual, are you doing this? Is there any way for us to approach this situation?
I think I remember this.
Yes.
I remember this one because it was about the reservation programs that ultimately were snapped up, if I recall correctly.
Correct.
Honestly, if we don't have anything that, you can always ask them about it.
We have.
Yeah.
And he said no.
He said no, but if we don't have anything, even if we don't have this mission, if we don't have anything, there's nothing.
There's nothing.
There's just nothing.
Absolutely nothing that we do. So the only thing that we would be able to do at that point, and the reason I'm bringing it up is just for conversation, so you guys
Yeah.
are all aware of what's happening with this, is that we would actually have to make a global change to the way we're doing the reservations right now within the system. And one of those global changes is possibly going to a lottery system for all, I'll call it 18 courts, right? 3 time prime slots, 6 courts apiece. That is probably, that's probably gonna be on the table, because unless we have a switch, and I was looking at making a switch in the program for Jonas, a recaptcha switch, but we don't know if that's actually gonna catch it or not. So if that doesn't catch it, so first of all, we cannot basically say, okay, fine, I thank you for getting that on the record. I appreciate that. And then number 2, if the recaptcha doesn't work, then I'm probably gonna end up working with Matt and Greg to see what kind of, I'll call it a Chelsea system like we have in golf, what kind of Chelsea system we put in place to accommodate this, to make it equal and even for everybody, period, end of conversation. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, that's, especially depending on the appetite to basically resolve this issue, yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. So it's the appetite of the other players and how far we want to go to correct the situation. Okay, great, thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all I have, Dylan. Oh,
I have another question.
Sure,
Different
yes.
question.
Yeah.
In working with Neil Road, I'm sorry. Neil
Neil Road off of Minnesota Key.
Yeah, no, I'm working
Go on.
with Neil on Laurel Road.
Yeah.
There's an issue about, is there a maintenance agreement with the county for us to maintain the right of ways around our entrance? And I don't think there is, but could you please, just in case
Yes.
I don't have something, we have an agreement only about the pipeline, right, with an easement, but I don't know of any maintenance agreement, and so they're asking the question specifically.
Neil, or is the county asking?
Neil.
Neil's
And I've
asking.
got to call into Spencer Anderson as well to ask the same question. Are you aware of an agreement? 'Cause I'm
And
not.
this would be, and just for my clarification, it would be for like medians, or what would the?
There is no median right now, so it's really for the right of way areas. So basically, outside the sidewalk, that's really the county's, but do we have an agreement to maintain it? I don't know of one. Our water gets there sometimes, but I don't think that we're doing it based on an agreement. And I just need to know that before I continue this discussion.
We don't maintain their sidewalks.
Correct. This is about.
Those are terrible.
This is about the outside, so
Outside the Laurel Road entrance, correct? Okay.
east and west, yeah.
Okay.
Between the sidewalk
So
and the
they're-
road.
So they're trying to get us to water that and the median?
Well, the median is kind of a hard no for me, just so
Okay.
you know.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah,
that,
good.
my position has
Great,
been,
great, great.
why would we water something that is clearly the county's
Right,
and not ours? And
Right.
so
Well, and look at the state of the Jacaranda
Yeah, it's
median.
horrible. That's the
Well,
problem.
and
Yeah.
that's what he's saying. It will look like that unless we want to water it, which is apparently what they do in central Sarasota. I'm still researching.
Central Sarasota looks like crap, though. Has anybody been up there recently?
Yeah.
I thought it looked really bad. From Monterey to
I'm
41.
speeding when I go through this, so I don't know.
I haven't been up there.
Certain parts look nice, and I wonder if there isn't some community watering
Okay.
going on. I don't know, but I will have a whole conversation with Spencer about this, but I just
Okay.
wanted from our perspective, if Andy happened to have something that I don't know about, I would like to know.
Ask him, see if he has.
So we're responsible for all the pipes that go from
Right.
Well,
our property
no,
to that
no,
median,
Neil-
under those.
But
under
Neil
the
is
road.
willing to put the conduit in if we want to water it, but at his cost. I still don't want to water it.
But doesn't Dylan's rule mean that we couldn't do that? We can't expend funds outside of the district property, right? Dylan's rule.
Oh, that may be true.
We cannot.
That's
Well,
true.
are we, this would be expending funds on behalf of Neil, for Neil's benefit, correct?
No, it would be for
And
our
pub
benefit if
general.
we're looking at it.
But if it's outside the
But this is
district, we
your
can't do
property
it.
now.
It's not on our property.
You can't do it.
It's not
Even
on our
better.
property.
So
Even-
hopefully we don't
even
have a
you
maintenance
answered.
agreement. I just want a quick, Andy,
I'll talk with Andy
is there
about
one? If not, just let me know, and then I
Yeah,
can
of
put
course.
that part to bed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for telling me.
He's gonna ask me, so I'll check on our end.
That's ultimately, yes, you may want to cut off the middleman too.
Just because.
Thank you.
There was one more thing that was sort of related, and you might not even know about it. I'd gotten from one of the
I
supervisors,
saw that.
and I don't know who, but Andy had stripped off, there was a question about the bocce, the cost for the bocce, program that's being run, because there's a cost that was associated with it, and it's
That was
not.
for barbecue. That was for food.
It is, and I just wanted everybody to be clear, it's clarified, it's not a fee that needs to be in the schedule, it's like a member event. And so I think the team actually clarified that, I just wanted to be sure everybody knew in case there was further
So-
inquiries.
But if you want to go to play bocce and not have the barbecue, you still have to spend $40 to join.
Well, here's what I would say is, well, I don't want to talk on behalf of the staff, but I did chat with Kat about it, and I think if they had it to do over again, they might have done it differently in the future, but that was because there's also gonna be prizes, et
Yeah, because
cetera.
that was my question. I just didn't like having a forced fee.
Well, it's a member event, there's
It's
a
a
fee
member
for a
event.
member event.
And actually, I will tell you, we
But-
played the league in New York at our community up there, which is very much like this one. And it was the same thing. You paid a fee to be a team, and then you had the barbecue at the end, and you had the prizes, and you had
And
all
there's
of that.
equipment that has to get bought, and there's
Yeah.
staff time.
The fee makes sense to me. If
The
you want
fee
to play in the league,
I agree. You pay a little bit of a fee to
Well,
play in a
I mean,
member
if you
event.
want
at
to
the
play
golf
This
course.
just,
is
if you want to
about
play
one
just by
person
yourself,
probably.
like on Wednesday at noon with a couple of friends, you can come up and do that. That's perfectly fine. You have to pay for that. But if you want to be a part of the league takes somebody putting things together and takes prizes, and I think you do have to pay a fee.
Because there's tennis leagues and you pay money,
Mhm.
because it goes to pay for
Exactly.
tennis balls.
Exactly.
Yeah, we need to move forward.
We do.
Yes, sir.
Supervisors. We
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
very
Yes, ma'am.
long
Okay,
agenda.
okay, just real, Mike, I have an update, on the investor thing, we've, been following the legal process, we've sent out a demand letter, last week.
Okay.
I think they have 30 days to comply, and if not, then we go to, we go to legal, but we need to get this letter out in writing, officially out there, because my understanding is if they fail to comply with this and we do follow suit, and we can then go for treble damages.
Nobody gets.
Well, it's out there, and they said they've gotten them, so,
Okay.
What we demand.
so we're demanding all the, all the
The
documents.
same letter, essentially the same letter we sent out some time
But
ago.
but more detailed and whatever.
Okay.
Also along the way, in more investigating, I found that Vesta was doing pass-through invoices for something $500 to $600 a month or more for amenities insurance. I have no idea what amenities insurance is, and then $100 to $300 a month for cell phone reimbursements. That's well, first off, that's a lot of money for reimbursement for somebody's personal cell phone, and where do they get reimbursed from 6, 8, 10 other communities? So shouldn't we just be getting a piece of it, not So there's a lot more in here to be had.
Thank you for all the
And we're
work.
trying to
Thank
go
you.
through it all. It is also the other thing I identified with them, and they agreed, is our contract was for gratuitous food out of the River Club, not hundreds of dollars at Sorrows and all these other restaurants that they went claiming to be food for the staff, which didn't exist. So there's multiple avenues and multiple ways of skinning the cat of the expenses. And we're just going after each and every opportunity to show that these are just not justifiable. And the more I've gone through it, I've organized a lot of it. I took a lot of the PDFs and did an AI thing on it, and had AI then put it into an Excel, put it into a chart, which I then have now hand over to make sure there's no mistakes. And you start looking at these things, and it's just outrageous. Because instead of just looking at 1, 2, 3 or pages, you can look at 200 at once, and have to sort by the date and see that, and then the date and then the time, and the location and the dollar amounts and what they purchased and where they were, and then you can just then go by after sort every Sunday and look at Sunday night at 4 o'clock on was tens of thousands of dollars. It's just crazy.
So do you feel like we're at a position that like we can,
Well,
like,
yeah.
what are your next steps?
The next step is obviously waiting to see what happens with vested and information. The probable next step would be if we have to file a suit, we still have to get a judge then to get us the documents, because I can't tell you the extent of all of this because we don't have most of it.
So we need a subpoena for the documents, is what you're
Yes.
saying?
And they said they can do an AI break, allowing us to get into the servers or whatever they have. So it has to be just somewhere. They created all these pass-through invoices. They have to have receipt backups somewhere, you would think, for them. And they said, and if they don't, then the onus is on them. And if they can't support it, then it's not a legitimate invoice. So, and then it becomes income to them.
Right.
As opposed to an expense that you can write off. There's all kinds of ramifications here.
Okay,
Great.
thanks a
Thank you.
lot.
Any other questions for Dan?
No, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your help.
Are there any questions for Keith?
Keith has agenda items in here.
Yeah.
Paver driveways or sidewalks marked for shading excavation. Is that our responsibility?
No,
Driveways
the
with
pavers,
sidewalks?
when they put, Jill and I had this
Yeah.
discussion on our,
Yeah, I talked about this.
as she walked and I drove, and about the pavers. That's really the homeowner's responsibility to make sure that they bring those pavers up to the sidewalk. Because a lot of them are out
We
there.
had this conversation with Rick
So, but
before.
if we identify one, are we providing notice to that homeowner?
Well, it's not us to give notice. That's a POA thing.
So would you collect the addresses and then deliver that message to the POA? Or how do we need
I
to do
can
that?
deliver the message to the POA if you can collect the addresses. Even if they're one at a time. If we say, hey, this particular driveway is out of compliance,
Okay,
I can set up a process with Barbara to make sure that the POA knows that that's part of their.
their
issue.
issue,
Yeah.
their violation issue.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Cheryl.
And then, I guess we're gonna talk about it when we talk about fencing, unless we've already talked about that, but do you need more from us to get additional estimates on the Laurel Road fencing? Because that was the next step, I thought. January meeting, it said you were gonna obtain more proposals after completing a walkthrough, but that was the.
Well, we just kind of need to probably go out there with some paint and figure out, I mean, one, that you want to do this for sure. All right. And then once that has been voted that we're going to do a fence, then we need to go out and mark exactly where, the 500 yards and break it up into, because there's some areas out there that man or animal can really want to go through unless you're just a little critter. But that could be taken out of the equation. and then move the fence down a little bit further. So it's just a matter of you telling me we're gonna do this. Get with the company that, and maybe another company. And we had 2 bids. So I know exactly where to tell them, we're going to here, 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 and here, and then.
Well, I think that's what I was waiting for, was you and Cindy were evaluating, where's the break?
Yes, and we found some really decent breaks, so I think it's just a matter of measuring the linear footage from the start to the first break, and then from the end of that first break to the beginning of the
And
next
where is
break.
the first break? Is it where that copse of trees is?
Yes,
Okay, and that's okay, that all works?
that all works.
And I think
Everything,
we should get the bids with having the break there. Don't tell them, put it where you want. Tell them the break should.
Well, that's what I want to do, is make sure that we know exactly where we want the breaks. All right, and if we can go back out, and I'll take flags, and we'll actually flag it and mark it better, so that we know exactly where they're gonna, so we get the right measurement.
so we get the correct linear footage.
Now,
Absolutely.
do we want, when the fence comes down around that big curve and goes down are we gonna want the decorative fence to go from there to the guardhouse, or just leave that open?
That's where I'm
On the other
struggling.
side. I would say it goes along
So on
the lower road part and then it stops.
That's where I was struggling, because I'll be honest with you, based on, and I'm gonna keep this brief. Based on the conversation, or based on what happened this past week with people accessing the community, it makes no sense to try to put that decorative fence up, because there's no way to secure even the welcome center side.
You're correct.
And so I would much rather see just the fencing go in, and then if we have extra money, I would like to see it addressed to the far exit and see what we can do to do a little bit job of securing the far exit. That would be my preference.
And
I
I'm
agree
so, I mean,
totally.
and I'm all for security, but I'm struggling that we have so many other porous locations, like the back exit and everything else. That is, are we just spending $50,000-$60,000 to push people from A to B?
Yeah.
Well, I think, let's get the
And-
quote.
And that's
Let's get
what
the
I'm
quote,
worried
because I
about.
don't think
Yes.
it's gonna be that much, and I think it is then consistent with the rest of Laurel
Laurel Road.
That's it.
Then
Yes.
our exits in both locations are a whole different
Correct.
Yeah.
conversation, but at least that way we have consistency, and I would like to see that one get put.
It's more visible though than the others. End as well.
So I would say let's get the quotes,
Okay.
no side, and then any overflow funding, we can take a look at the far exit.
Yeah, and when we get the quotes, could we actually get a map, like somehow like a Google map, Google Earth map down, showing exactly where these are, so we can all visualize exactly what this is, because you're talking about this, you're talking about that, but,
It's a chain link fence.
well, I know, but I need to know where it's, physically where it's going, and then if you do a decorative, where that would be exactly.
Sure.
No
Understood.
decorative.
Okay.
No
The
decorative.
decorative,
Okay.
just now.
6 foot. Black.
Yeah,
We don't think just better hedging, pitch apple, whatever would.
Takes too long for it to grow.
Then what we,
Eventually, yes.
but I thought that's why we did this in the first place, was to create the barrier, and then that was too long to grow, so we shouldn't have done it.
Exactly. Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it.
But we did it.
Well, not to the, if it didn't take that long to grow, then.
But we needed to replace what we lost, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
No, we need to replace what we lost, no question, but I'm saying, but we also created these three layers to create these hedges, and that just don't exist, so.
But they are gonna exist, and it's just a matter of, I think we just get the bids on the fence and then have this discussion.
Yes,
Agreed.
yes,
All right.
exactly.
100%.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can we do the next meeting?
Any other questions for Keith?
No.
Nope.
All right. So supervisors, our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, March 9th, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. I did want to discuss whether or not we're going back to the normal schedule of one meeting a month and the second meeting a workshop. I don't know if you want to go back to that, or are we continuing with 2 meetings a month?
I would say 2 meetings, just for, we got two. Still have a few things we got to deal with.
Well, I mean, dealing with just means we couldn't vote on anything, but
I kind of like the workshop
I
idea.
do.
I do
Only
too.
because I think we got
I do too.
a lot more other, yeah. And I think if we get into a rhythm of having one meeting, a workshop, we'll start pushing all the stuff we need to really have discussions on there.
Mhm.
And then this meeting should be more of a, we talked about it, here it is, let's vote on it.
This should be a business
And
meeting.
this should be a business
Right.
meeting. This
Yep.
shouldn't be as much discussion as we have
Yeah.
today.
I agree.
But we need to get into that rhythm.
Are you okay with that, Rich, or? Okay.
I'm not gonna, I think if that's what the group wants.
I like how that sounds.
So the,
So the answer is yes, so then the 9th would be a business meeting, and then the 23rd would be a workshop.
Yes.
And
And the 9th would be, have an 8:30 workshop before it?
yeah, I would, yeah, okay.
Yes.
All
wait,
right.
excuse me, so the 9th is the workshop?
No,
No, the second
Well, you
meeting is
have your
workshop.
workshop at 8:30, scheduled regardless.
Always, yeah.
But,
workshop
your
is the
regular
second.
meeting is
Thank
also
So
on that.
the business meeting on the 9th, and then the 23rd will just be workshop.
And what time will that start?
9:30.
At
9:30.
9:30?
Yeah.
And we're gonna discuss the financials at the second work, at a workshop.
I think the workshop is, that's what the workshop is for. That's where we, then we
Yeah,
can
because we're
have
not
a
voting on it.
discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're not voting
your
on it.
financials don't come in until after 20th.
Right.
So it's perfect to have that discussion during the second meeting of the month. I did want everybody to start checking their calendars, for budget workshop dates.
Yes.
We'll have to confirm with, whoever Greg needs here from Hampton also. Typically we do meet in May. I think last year we did it on a Friday. I'm not sure if it was a Friday or not, but
Sounds right.
I thought it ran very well, so, my Fridays are pretty open in May, so if everybody could check their travel schedules and just give me some preliminary dates, that's fine. We don't have to set the date today, because we still have some time. But, May looks pretty good.
I'm free, man.
I think the 15th is the only Friday that I'm not. That's a tough Friday. I can change it though. Actually, I can change it.
Well, why don't we look at the 20, is the 22nd, this is a Friday before Memorial Day, so.
Yeah, I can change the 15th. I can move that.
I think we should do it earlier in the month, Jill, given that this is Hampton's first time. Because they're gonna need some time to, make any adjustments or changes that are made at the workshop.
Well, so then I guess a question I'd have is, should we just look the week of May 4th, and that way you don't have to move your thing?
Sound good, the 8th?
I mean, to me, earlier is always better.
We can do the 8th. We have to check with Hampton, obviously.
If you give me a couple of dates, I'll send an inquiry to Carol, because I'm sure she'll want to be involved in that. And then if you'd like, I can also send an invite and see if she's available on the 23rd.
Yeah, I think 23rd might be a little late, because it's the first year, so.
No, I just mean for the workshop about financials.
Oh, okay, got it.
But if you don't want that, I don't have to.
Okay, so I'm gonna tentatively write down the 8th here.
Is that May 8th you're talking about?
May 8th, yeah, this is for the
Budget
board, the budget workshop for fiscal 27.
There's lots of very large pieces of paper.
Yeah,
And Excel spreadsheets.
okay. Very perfect.
Excel.
Excel spreadsheets.
I mentioned previously that I'm gonna be reviewing the November financials later today, so once those are reviewed, Vanessa will release them. This is just a consolidated statement. She's hoping to catch up this week with the new ones that she just received from Hampton, so we should be back on schedule. I did send the board copies of, all of the correspondence the letter that was sent to Juniper and the reports that are coming back from Sergio. I'm not sure if everybody recalls, but Sergio used to work for LMP and what other company?
Brightview.
Brightview, was it Brightview before? Yeah. So he's back on property now. But he's been providing weekly reports, so as I receive those, I'll send them over to the board for review as well. Any questions for me? All right,
Just
we're
got
gonna
one
move.
question.
Sure.
You mentioned that you got new financials from November. I mean, are those financials that different than what we have? or-
No, what I'm talking about is the consolidated.
We haven't gotten those yet.
Because
Is
remember,
that-
we hadn't
Yeah.
received.
No, yours, yeah, okay.
We hadn't received the financials because they were making adjustments and
Yeah.
changes. So October was done, it was completed, was difficult for Vanessa to put it together, but she did it. But now November, the consolidated is ready for me to review, and then she'll be sending it out after.
Okay, I'm misunderstood, okay, got it.
All right, so we're gonna move into item number 6A, which is the consideration of the SOD proposals on Laurel Road. These are behind tab number 4 for your review.
In addition, you have the side proposal that I passed out earlier, which is a revision to Juniper's side proposal. This proposal is now more competitive than any of the other proposals, and it makes sense since they are actually filling some areas in, that they do the whole thing, and that way the sod is consistent, and the bahia and the Medici berm will be included in that. And this includes everything, including site prep, disposal, removal, everything. They just aren't charging us for it.
Are we going to, I know we have all that stuff to replace on.
Yeah.
Are we gonna wait to replace the stuff first, then do the sod? Is there a plan in place for that?
I would actually replace the plants first and then do the
That's what
sod,
I'm
because the
asking.
sod will go up. So
That's
yeah, so really, we're just on this little hole, which is kind of, I'll continue to work with Keith and Sergio to say, when do we pull the trigger to actually do this? Wyatt is on notice. He's the guy who does the front and is gonna replace all the plantings. So he knows that we're just waiting, and we will all agree on, okay, I think it's time, and then we'll go ahead and do the plantings, and then we'll engage for the sod.
Okay.
So I would make the motion and to accept the Juniper sod proposal for $26,550 for the St. Augustine and $15,300 for the Bahia.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
That's
All right, so now we're going to,
Berm and Laurel, it's both. The Bahia, sorry.
we did have the tree and fence proposals on here, but I think Keith has his marching orders on this unless he.
I've got the tree, I've got the fence, but now the tree, I guess we need to, on the oak trees, we need to decide. Spencer's suggestion was with for green toppers or lamb. We've used green toppers, lately. They're very, they're always answering the phone. They're always ready to do more. If something's wrong, they're ready to fix it. So that would be my recommendation, would be green toppers.
Based on Keith's recommendation and based on Spencer's comments, I would make a motion that we hire green toppers to do the clearance trimming and some structural with Spencer supervising for the first day.
And we talked about that, and we'll do that together.
This would be subject to preparation of an agreement by district council.
I did. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Can we negotiate this at all? I mean, this is their proposal, doesn't mean we have to accept it, can we?
You know, put a not to exceed is lower and then put the what to them?
I wouldn't know how to negotiate it, to tell you the truth. I mean, the bid seems competitive, even Spencer says it's competitive. I don't know on what basis I would say, because my fear is that if we do that, and then they're gonna do a half-baked job.
They could do a half-page job for 44 or a half-page job for 40, I mean, just, you don't know.
I would trust Spencer's recommendation. I don't think if he felt that this quote was unreasonable, he would not have made the recommendation today.
Plus green tops was 185 a tree and the other one was 203 a tree. But, I mean, I guess we could ask them if that's their best price, but we're gonna need an amount, so.
I mean, if you're talking 40 grand, you're talking $4,000.
It's just force of habit.
And it's a good habit too.
It is, it's a good habit.
I mean, I buy, in my business, I buy, multi-millions of dollars a year. If I can save 10%,
Well, so
It's a lot of
let me
money.
make another, along that line, let me make a small proposal. I think I heard Spencer say that now is the time we should be having those 5 oaks that we newly planted on Passaro looked at. Could we ask them for the same price to throw in a structural pruning of those 5 newly planted ones? And that way we're getting
There you go.
something for the,
Right.
I'll
That's a
ask.
good idea.
Not part of
Yeah,
the 240.
great idea.
they're not
No.
part of the 240 now, but Spencer
No,
said, well,
because the
now is the
240
time
Now's
to
the
do it.
time
So
to
at
do
least
it.
we're getting something,
Yes.
to Rich's point.
Okay.
So
Yes.
do you want one of us, or do you want to make the motion? Or you did already? on the
I did already
green
make the
tops?
motion, so I am now
I'll second
amending the motion just to include the additional, is it
I
5?
think there's
I think
5 there.
it's
5 small oaks.
On Passaro.
And Keith to negotiate with Green Tops on that and see if they'll do it.
Yes.
Those things are so small, there's no reason
You're
to
gonna
just get those things done.
Any further discussion?
I second.
All
I'll
those in
revise my
favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Do we need to, discuss item number 6C, or was this discussed during the workshop?
It was not,
What is it?
the member survey. So I thought we were quite, I don't want to use the word divided, but do we want to do the survey with, thingamabobbies? Yeah, you know what I mean, the survey.
I know what you
people.
mean.
Yeah, I'm having a moment. Do we want to proceed with that? $7,500. I think my sense, Greg, was that you were somewhat in favor of going ahead and doing it so we have a baseline. It's already getting late-ish though.
Well, that was my position. That I thought we should do it
Yes.
for any number of reasons, including having a baseline. And then you brought up something this morning about penetration
Yes.
of users,
Yeah.
and that's part of the survey.
Yeah. Yes.
So that gives us a baseline on that as well.
Yeah. So
So I just, for that kind of money, I just think it's worth having that additional benchmark.
so then a suggestion. I'm gonna let.
When are we gonna do it?
I think we could get it done very quickly, and I'll tell you why, because most of the questions are gonna be the same. I would like us, though, to ask the question, you know, we need to, a specific question, for example, like using the showers in the locker room. Do you use
I
the,
thought we had that on there.
well,
last year.
no, we didn't have 0 on there.
Oh,
So we
okay.
don't know who doesn't, we just knew,
Who did?
right? It was,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So I think, let me suggest that I let Peter know we're gonna go forward. I will send a draft do not reply of the last one, and then we can put on the agenda for either the 9th or the 23rd.
I would still, personally, I would still wait until after season, or to the end of season, not do it in the middle.
Season's when you want it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People
but I
pay
mean,
more
okay,
attention to it.
That's what I was
Well,
thinking.
but toward the end, so, if it went out in April, I'm not saying send it out.
It probably won't go out until,
Yeah, chances, yeah,
End
it
of
won't
March.
go out before that, likely.
we can time when it goes. Let me suggest.
If that's the time, I'm okay with it.
So I'm thinking we should, I guess we could do it at a workshop, because we don't have to vote on the content of the meeting. I'm just wondering if we need to put it on the business meeting or on it would give you 2 weeks. If I sent it out today, it would give you 2 weeks to look at it before the March 9th. Should we just discuss it on March 9th?
Yeah.
The content?
I think that's
That
a
works.
great idea.
Okay, I will get that out today. Yep, I'll let Peter know we're going forward. And then we can discuss the timing to your point, Rich, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
I know there was discussion about modifying or looking at the questions that were asked.
Yes, and I'll make sure,
But
yeah.
the challenge is then it wouldn't be a benchmark.
Well, we would just maybe add 1 or 2
Gotcha.
about use of the showers or
Yeah, I
something
see.
else, yeah. Penetration, yeah, okay. Good, all right.
Yeah, because there's a couple on there you probably take off.
Yeah.
They're not relevant.
Yeah.
anymore.
So item number 6D is the review and discussion regarding recent financial reports. I know that there was some
We kinda did
discussion
that.
already on this. Did
Yeah.
we?
Yeah, it was mostly, because it was mostly for Greg, so we did that, yeah. in the workshop.
So item number 6E is the discussion regarding record storage.
Yeah, I have it in my head that I might have put it on there.
Okay, well,
Or maybe you did.
well, I didn't put it on there, but I don't know how it got up there, so, okay, so here's what it is, so like I said, I identified that we have all these rookies that are out of storage.
Yeah.
Greg, they've now increased their price on us, for the monthly storage. Those records, I believe, if I recall, they have not been touched since 2020, so they're old records. But Andy made a comment that there might be stuff in there that might be important CDD documents that can't be tossed. So there's like 80, 90 boxes or something in there. Who's gonna go down to Fort Myers, or do we get them up here? And who's going through them to determine what's important and what's not? So I don't put that on the agenda, but that's the crux of the matter. So,
The
Well,
last message I heard was, let's leave them as is until we figure out an answer from the attorney
Yeah,
about proceeding or not proceeding.
right.
but those are old records, so I don't think that would apply
it could be
to any.
digitized.
Well, and then Gillette did inquire, can they be digitized? And the answer was yes.
Yeah, there are two things. I think there was, that you told me that we have to keep paper records, agendas and resolutions, right?
That's what we keep.
Minutes and
Minutes and
resolutions, minutes and
resolutions.
resolutions.
That's what we keep hard copies of. Everything else is digitized.
But the question is, I don't know what's there. Nobody knows what's there.
Well, but so maybe
So-
it's one of those situations where it may be cheaper to just digitize everything.
Correct.
Oh, God.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
That's kind of expensive.
That's, you've got 90 boxes of records in there.
Well, here's what I would say is I think, given the list of things that
And
we
if
have to
things are
focus on.
stapled and whatever.
What are, we have no idea what they are.
The boxes are labeled or anything?
I have no, I've not been there.
I can.
Nobody's been there since 2020. Since, I think the last time anybody was there was right before Vestas started, it was when Icon put the last dump of stuff there.
Probably
and
about right when Denise Payton was
And
here.
Vesta has never been there.
So do we know what information we need to keep versus not keep? Do we kind of have a general idea of
I don't know.
if it's this, we need to keep it, if it's this, we don't need to keep
There's
it?
well, we can guide ourselves based off of what is in the statute. We would have to print the statute and review whatever information, is in there.
And then there's some financial records that you have to meet.
Can I make a quick suggestion?
Please.
Let's find out what the statute says and then have an independent audit.
Correct.
Somebody that's not any of you to go and dig through the boxes and figure out what we can keep, what we shouldn't keep, what we can digitize. This way it takes you all and everybody out of who had access to it.
Somebody from Rosetta could do?
I would,
Knew you were gonna say that.
before you do that.
No, not you.
Not you, Belinda.
I would call vital
What
records
is
to
that
see
doing?
if there's somebody, if
Where
you physically do that.
in Fort Myers is this? Does anybody know?
No,
I think I have
I've
the
got the
address here.
trust,
Hold
yeah.
on.
but I don't even know if vital records allows people to go into.
They'll take things out of a storage locker area for you to view. There's like a viewing room.
So I don't know if they're gonna take out the whole.
Yeah.
There used to be anyways, that Iron Mountain used to have
I
that.
don't know if they're gonna take out 90 boxes and bring it to room for you.
Doesn't, I can look them up real quick.
I can look
It
them up.
doesn't, it just has a signature on the
Give me a
address.
second, I'll find it.
It's fine. I don't have to have it right now. I
Yeah,
just wanted
okay.
to have an idea of whether or not it's close to our office or not. Let me talk to.
Oh, yeah, it's Medicus Lane in Fort Myers, 11901 Medicus Lane.
I have to look it up. It doesn't sound familiar near our
I think my head
office.
it's near the airport.
Probably,
Yeah.
it's probably off of exit 128, which is closer, but I'll find out. And then I'll check with our team to see, who we can assign to take a look at the records and see what's inside some of these boxes. I
I'm sure a
mean,
lot of this
technically,
is-
we're the records custodian, but that's a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of this is old receipts and invoices, but the question is, there's also IRS regulations on what you have to keep it for how long too, so.
We'd have to pull the Department of Library Services retention guide. Which again, that's right on the website, but that's
Well,
also.
so how much is this costing us?
Like 150 a month,
150 a month, so I think we have to
A little more
consider.
than that, right?
I think it's 180.
180 a month
Yeah,
now, okay.
yeah, and I
2400.
did notice that Vital Records does now, and they probably didn't back then when it got started, but they do have a place up in Sarasota, so maybe that at least makes it easier if we feel we have to keep them at least for a time. It may make better sense down in Sarasota versus Fort Myers.
Well, it'd be interesting to know kind of an idea of what's in those boxes,
Yeah.
and then we can decide.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I mean, we don't-
$2,000 a year,
We don't know,
it's gonna be a lot more.
anything could be in there. You could have old contracts, you could have,
Yeah.
accounting information.
Epstein files.
And it's probably item number 87 on the list of things we needed to know, you know.
All right, so I'll take a look at the address, I'll speak to our team and then I'll report back.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Okay, so River Club Group.
IRS is 7, but government, that's.
50.
Each
So we're gonna move into item number 6F, which is the consideration of an authorization to proceed with an RFP for the River Club roof.
Okay, so Andy and I put that on, I had Andy put that on there. We need to, our roof is shot. We've already done 4 repairs in the past year for various leaks. The TPO on top of the flat roof is already failing, and that was put on the top of the bitumen roof. So the TPO should have been a 20-year roof, the bitumen should have been a 20-year roof. We should be 40 years in, and they're both failing after 23. So that was done poorly.
So you're saying we have 2 roofs on top of this,
Yeah, well, on the flat roofs, yeah.
on the flat roof? Okay, thank
flats.
you, got it. Okay.
So, and we've had other failures under, you know, of the underlayments, the waterproofing under the tile roofs. And a lot of tiles have been repaired, cracked, whatever. And like I said, we've been 4 times this past year. We don't know if we've had no leaks, we've had no rain. Big concern is if we have really torrential rains and we have leaks, we have a problem. If we have a hurricane, the insurance company will likely say, you've had leaks and we're not gonna cover it.
Wait a minute, this is not, you know, your father's insurance company, this is FIA.
No, and-
I've looked into that, Belinda and I looked into that after Ian, so it's not gonna be like you and I have on our
Okay,
roofs.
well, I don't know, I just wanna make sure that, you know, we've had leaks, so, and our insurance, I don't believe covers mold or fungus, so if we have moisture damage or whatever, I don't know if we have that coverage, I don't, if that's something you could look into for us as well.
I'd have to look at the policy declarations, so I'll make
But-
myself a note.
But I would at least get the RFP moving to see what it's going to cost us, because if we're going to do it, we need to do this over this summer.
Yeah.
When, otherwise, if we wait till next summer, it's a year from now, and if we go through hurricane season.
I agree with you, Rich. I just have a couple of questions. Why wouldn't we include the guardhouse?
Oh, we
If
did
we're
this as a
doing
separate entity. We,
As an add-on alternate?
yeah,
That's what I saw.
because I just,
I would just include it. I mean, if we're gonna
I
do
would
this,
just-
if we're doing the tennis
Yeah.
shed,
it's, well,
we need to do
I mean,
that.
it's gonna be in it, they're just gonna give you a separate line item for it, so it's not that we're not doing it. It's just gonna give you this and that, and then.
I would
it
just
was-
include it though.
That's fine, I mean, that's,
And my second question is, what is a magnetic sweep? I didn't understand that line.
because they have to, okay, so part of the work is they're gonna go through with all of the nails, because they have to resecure the existing wood panel up the floor
Oh,
of the
this is
code.
after.
Well,
It's
yeah,
a magnetic sweep to get all the stuff.
Get all the stuff.
Sorry,
up,
the way I
yeah.
was reading it, I thought, I was like, well, what are we sweeping for?
So-
I thought it was something I didn't understand.
No, no,
about
it's,
the
no, it's-
roof. I
they
got
do a
it.
magnetic sweep to make sure all the nails and things, magnet pieces of metal, or whatever,
Thank you.
out of all the beds, the grass and whatever, so you don't get flat tires and hurt.
So my question is the scope of work that is here, was who prepared the scope of work, first of all?
We,
was we.
Tim and I did it based upon work with the original quote we got for the roof.
So you did it based on a quote. Did you work with anybody from the River Club to see if they have anything that they wanted to add or change or modify on the scope of work? So you had somebody come out, give you an estimate,
Mhm.
and then you and Tim developed the scope of work based on what they said, the
Well-
one vendor that came out. My question
And, well,
is,
Greg was in the meetings, and we discussed a lot of those things with him as well, about timing and cleaning up and
Me
setting
and,
up.
yeah, Ray and I were both there.
you guys were both there. Are you comfortable with this scope of work? Do you feel like you need to have anybody else take a look at this? Because what I'm hearing is, we took information from a roofing contractor, but we don't have necessarily somebody who's like a roofing maintenance expert from internally taking a look at this.
But this is also these, when we put it there, it was really not telling you how to do the roof.
No, these are the requirements of, I know, I just want to make sure
Yeah.
nothing was missed.
So,
That's all
yeah.
I want to ensure. I just want to make sure that we had the right people taking a look at developing the scope of work so that when we go out and we put the bids together, somebody doesn't come back and say, you forgot about this. And it's going to really cost you X, right? I just want to make sure we got the full thing covered. That's all I'm saying. And
So I concur with you, and my only comment would be, one of the reasons we hired Hampton Golf is because they had so much experience with doing large jobs,
Thank you.
large renovations.
yes,
Maybe there's someone at Hampton Golf, we just take a quick look at this and
yes,
say,
thank you,
did we
Cheryl.
miss anything?
That's fine.
Yes, that's all I'm asking, is
That's
to make
what
sure
I
we got the
could
full
also
scope of work. Thank you.
Hampton's
Ultimately, yeah,
responsibility.
Because no doubt this is gonna go well over the threshold of what has to go out for bid.
Oh, this has to.
definitely.
Absolutely.
This is the 300,000.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I just wanna be-
No, it's definitely wrong, which is why I had Andy work on the RFP, because I knew we were exploded well past that, we're at about 350.
Yeah, I just want to make sure Hampton's comfortable with this, so thank you, Cheryl, for adding your context to
I will
it.
send an email to Bill and
Thank
Jamie
you.
after this meeting, and
I appreciate
So
that.
this isn't in reserves for another.
2035. 2035, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
What?
which I don't know how it got pushed out
Well,
that
it's supposed,
far.
well, because they're supposed to be 30-year roofs.
Can we move it up?
There's no,
Well,
there's,
since we're redoing reserves right now, that's why I just whispered to Kim, maybe
Okay.
we could shuffle.
Well, that roofs were in 28
Okay,
and yeah,
for 100,000.
and they're shot.
And then the barrel tells 2035, I think.
okay.
Because I was liaison to facilities in the last board, and I think I recall 2035.
Yeah, but
So
I
we
don't
need to
know,
have that conversation now while they're redoing the reserve study,
Yeah,
because
so-
otherwise this is
Yeah.
a moot point.
yeah, so I don't know where it got 35 years from, but this roofer and the
Well,
other
they were
roofer we
supposed to
had-
be 40-year roofs
Well,
back
that's-
in the day.
Well, they're not, because the tiles last for 40 years, but the underlayment doesn't.
No, 30 years.
It's 20,
Okay.
they're they're saying that Florida's 25 years is
So what's it
really.
in for, 2030?
35.
It is 35, that's what I thought,
Yeah,
2035.
so
Yeah,
that.
but that's 30 years.
So we might
that's
need to push this
2000.
out.
That's 32,
Okay.
it's 32 years. The roof was done in 2023.
Okay, so we all agree that Hampton will also take a look at this from
I
a
haven't
project
done-
management perspective and everything else.
Well, maybe
Okay,
this is
thank
the
you.
question, because is the barrel tile roof on Tiki Bar is gonna be roughly the same age?
Didn't we replace that when we had the tiki bar? No, we didn't. Okay,
No, we did not.
oh, that should be added in too.
That's that get added in.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I thought it was.
No,
Okay,
no.
I don't know why I thought it
We paid
was.
I thought both
$1,000 a
things
square
was
foot.
new. I thought so too.
No, no.
Okay.
No,
Eek.
yep, and then there's the tennis shed.
Yeah, which is.
Throw
Well,
it out
that's in
there.
there. We have that in there.
Yeah, I thought I saw the tennis shed in
Yeah,
there,
tennis
yes.
shed is in there.
Yeah, the shed in the gatehouse.
You did,
Okay.
tennis shed, yeah, it was tennis shed antique.
It was tennis shed.
The only thing that was in the
Not the
alternate
guardhouse.
was the guardhouse.
Right,
Oh,
and the guardhouse
okay,
was
then I
in,
got that.
guardhouse was an
Okay.
add-on.
Okay.
Yeah, because we weren't sure if you were gonna, the appetite was there, but I agree, it should be done, but that's what we said, include it, and we can just take it or not take it.
So
So,
when is the reserve study gonna be ready?
Before budget?
Yeah, before budget. It was late March,
Do you,
earlier.
do you think we're gonna be able to move stuff around to get this money this year? I know it's a loaded
Moving it
question.
around doesn't give you the money.
I know, no, I mean moving other stuff back.
We've
You
been-
know, can there be adjustments?
Don't
And the only
we
reason
got
I'm
that kind of
asking,
money.
because I would hate to have these companies bid on it and then go, oh, sorry.
Right.
no, I agree with that, I agree with that too,
We've
but
been building the fund for 20 years, so it's not like it's zero.
I know,
You're not starting from zero.
but you also don't wanna take out too much money in 1 year. I just don't know what else is in there that's being
Yeah.
moved.
Yeah.
That's the
but
problem, cash flow.
I'm just
Right.
worried based upon what your experience
The
and,
bigger problem will be, you're talking about a geothermal system that's not even in here.
Yeah.
Right.
There was
Yeah.
no expectation you're gonna have a new geothermal system for 350,000.
Refinance the bonds.
That's a
We never
bigger
should have given the money back.
The roof, at least you've been building 20 years of reserves up for.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right. All right, great.
So, it's like I'm saying, so we're talking to the roofer and what he was saying, because the timing is tight. We really want to get this done before hurricane season, is if we can get this process moving quickly.
This is not getting done
It's not-
before hurricane season.
Not this
No.
year.
Not this year.
Yeah, we can't.
No, we don't have the money.
Well, we don't know, we have to.
You have,
Because with 350.
you have money in the reserve.
Okay,
You don't have the full amount covered
there.
for this line item, but you have money in
There's
there.
money,
Yeah,
there's
yeah, move
20
things around.
years
Gotta
of
look
money
at
in
the
There's
there.
20 years of money
There's
in there.
so basically there's 2/3 of the money in there. So we'd have to figure out,
How to
yeah.
move,
anyway.
how to move
Yeah.
the rest around.
Some
But
projects
I'm
can be
afraid if
so-
we push it,
LaSalle's,
if we go past hurricane season, that puts us into hurricane season, and that's what I'm worried about.
You're not gonna do LaSalle without an assessment,
Exactly, that's my
exactly.
point.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
which means you won't be doing LaSalle.
I don't,
We won't be doing LaSalle.
I think we need to take the necessary steps to make sure that we're doing this right. And if it doesn't happen,
The dreaded
I don't know why hurricane season's always a stopgap for you, because there's gonna be a next year's hurricane season.
No, but
So if the roof gets ruined and we've got insurance coverage, I hate to say it, it actually may work.
no, but I'm saying they can't repair the roof during, you don't want to have an open exposed roof during hurricane season.
Understood.
If the roof gets ruined by the hurricane, that's one thing. If the roof just gets damaged from heavy rains and we have a bad roof, that we're not covered for that. If the roof rips off by the hurricane season, we're covered. If the roof just leaks during hurricane season, we're not covered.
I don't want hurricane season to be our decision maker in how we move forward with
Well,
it.
I'm
That's
just-
all I'm saying.
I'm just using hurricane season as heavy rains, heavy winds, whatever, not necessarily hurricane, because if it gets damaged by a hurricane, our insurance should cover it. I'm worried about all the other things that come with the hurricane of the leaks and whatever causing the damage. So
Okay.
that is the
When
biggest
we
issue.
get Cheryl's report on how much we've spent of the hurricane funds
Mm-hmm.
and how much is left, recall that we said what was left would be going into reserves.
Okay, cool.
I'll have that by the next meeting.
Perfect.
I want
Thank
to
you.
coordinate with Belinda to make sure that there's something, not something in there I don't know.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you.
So we're gonna hold this till the next meeting, right?
Mhm.
Well,
Thank you.
well, we've got to wait until Greg comes back.
I'll have
Anyway,
an
we'll-
I'll have an answer if we have, I'm sure we do, a project manager or a roofing specialist. Anything other than those 2 bullet points you want me to inquire about?
Just have them review
I
that.
dedicate-
Just have them review the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yeah,
Did we
review
miss
that
something?
Yeah.
list, review that list, see if we've missed anything, or anything needs to be added, amended, changed, whatever. I also sent Andy an email I did yesterday, before we started, also saying that everything should comply with current Florida statutes
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
put up the current standards.
Okay.
Now, just around, at least on our end, because we do have basically the RFP, the actual documentation. We've been working on it. Obviously, if you want to wait on, it, especially if there's money issues, you don't have to go to initiate that. Unless you want to, that's your call, we were projecting, if you wanted to get that absolute earliest, it would have been like potentially the first meeting in April, but that may be, from your discussions, sound like that may be too soon to actually make a decision. But for money reasons, they'd have to look at it.
First send it out in April?
No, to make a decision on it. But just hearing the discussion from you all, there may be issues with money and still having Hampton review it beforehand.
Correct.
And obviously, for all that to happen, I think, it's my guess, just having, dealing with RFPs before, that's too much, probably too condensed of a timeline if you want to get all that done.
Right.
You still initiate the process, but
Sure.
we may have to push it, our decision date back, depending on considering all those factors.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Wait, so, wait, I'm confused, because I was talking to Andy about getting this thing out, if we approved it, getting out maybe this week, obviously before we talked about it.
It's not, there's two, you'd have a vote to initiate the process. You get it out, but if you're going to actually have a public hearing, have the vendors here to make presentations, get a full bid, the earliest that, to make a decision on that would be April.
Got it,
Yeah.
okay, yes.
Now, we could still, if you want to initiate, that's the one thing, but we will probably have to, like I said, from this discussion, we probably have to push that April date.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because this late, here's the difficulty, to get that kind of, the amount of, if we do approve this, to get that amount of tile is probably 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
And also right now, because there's been no hurricanes last year, things are at a discount versus if we wait till after hurricane prices will go back up. So there is inventory and there is better pricing. There's not been a demand for this past year. If we get this thing approved, the way around it is they come in here, they start knocking down the roof and they put up the moisture barrier and do all the work while we're waiting for the tile to come in. So then this way, when the
Yeah.
tile comes in, they can get doing it.
Like
So we
every other
can
roof.
get it done before September when the hurricanes hit or the heavy rains hit and not have guys working and having hurricane come through and rip off the waterproof membranes or damage it without the barrel tiles to protect it.
A lot of the conversation didn't revolve just around hurricanes either, it was also rainy season.
Yeah, well, rainy season,
Rainy
hurricane, yeah.
Understood.
This is, well, yeah, thanks. Brian. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Item number 6G was the discussion regarding bocce courts that was previously discussed. So is there anything to add or can we move on?
Do we have bids updated?
I don't know who put it on.
I'm gonna have
I don't either.
to check with Matt. Matt, I know, asked Welch to provide bids for AstroTurf, not Hartrup. So I don't know if he's got those yet or not.
Okay.
Also, when you get those bids through, I mean, I saw the things in there that said that the lights on these bocce courts, so I don't know how we're out there is capable of handling it and what we need to do. We also need to get somebody to get a price from the irrigation company to move sprinklers to wherever they need to go to, and then to repair the turf back to where it was after all that work is done. And that's assuming we can then still get in with, and where we put things, we still need to get equipment in to go do work on the towers and back buildings and stuff like that, so. But I just want to make sure if we're gonna look at the numbers, let's look at a comprehensive number.
And options, 2, 3, 4.
Mhm.
Question I have as well is, depending on what we do with the outside of La Sala, and I mentioned this to Greg, do the courts should they be pushed that way toward the loggia that goes out to the boardwalk, versus having them out here? I just,
Yeah.
I think you want them out a little further anyway, because if it's gonna be noisy during dinner hours,
yeah, I mean, plus,
you don't want them right.
that's a
right there.
beautiful
Yeah.
preserve view,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure I want to be looking at
Yeah, exactly.
bocce courts.
I don't
I'd
know,
rather be
yeah.
looking at a nice preserve
The
view
greener than what's there.
myself.
Well, if they're artificial turf, they're gonna look green. It'll be okay.
I just,
Yeah, be
well,
greener than what's
It'll
there.
be green.
I'm just not a fan of the concept until we can figure out what Salah's gonna
that's
be.
kind of where I'm coming
I
from.
mean, I think what Salah should go in first.
But we
and
still
then-
get the estimates and then,
Yeah.
figure it out, but.
Yeah.
Some more to come.
I just don't want to waste people's time if we're not gonna go forward.
True. Okay.
So item number 6I, Cindy, do we need to
Ooh,
discuss that?
6H,
No.
charter.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's
I'm sorry,
yeah,
we
but no, we
skipped
don't need
6H.
to discuss 6I.
Okay, so we do have the ratification of the social and dining committee charter.
Yeah.
Approved.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was very
It's in the
minimal.
right program.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Approved. And you know what, I actually need to go back and check.
Well, the old charter had more stuff in it, but that,
It was only the template stuff, I'm sure. Literally, it only says they are advisory to the board, took out management, and that was it.
no, in the old charter, there's another line or two of things in there that said the responsibilities. We talked about, speaking to the residents and getting feedback and whatever, and those things were missed. I understand that directing or.
It might have been an old version of it,
Might have
but,
been an older
but I
version.
think it was an older version.
Okay.
This one, it was according to Cheryl's template, and it was literally one sentence.
Okay.
So I think there was, to your point, I
Yeah.
think there was some version disconnect, but this one is a very template directed, one sentence mission.
It does I know, it doesn't say what it does though.
Should we vote?
I don't have a problem.
Yeah, we would need a motion to approve
Generic.
the
I'll
charter.
make the motion that we approve the charter as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I just think it should have a little bit more direction as to what it does. But, going back to the old charter. Because the old charter totally said what it was gonna do.
I like this one better, in my opinion.
Well, that's what it's gonna do.
Yeah.
Just
How they do
minimize
it is really up to the committee. They can still go out to the community.
All right.
They can still
I
do
would
it.
argue, I would argue some of the charters are too detailed.
Okay.
I agree. And I do need to check back in RSAC to make sure it says the committee is advisory and it's clear about that. So, all right.
All those in
Less is
favor,
more.
please state aye.
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 Thanks, Linda.
So moving into item number 7A, which is the consideration of the minutes of the Board of Supervisors meeting held on January 26, 2026. These are behind tab number 7 for your review. Any questions, comments, and/or changes to the minutes as presented? Nope. There are no questions, comments, and/or changes. We're looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Jill, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ken.
Yeah, sure.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
We now have item number 7B, which is the ratification of the operations and maintenance expenditures for the month of December 2025. These are behind tab number 8 for your review. Are there any questions? If there are no questions, we'd be looking for a motion to ratify.
Uh-oh.
No,
I'm very quiet and I'm scared now.
no, I looked at it. No question.
Okay, we need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Jill, is there a second?
A second.
Second by Cindy. Any further discussion? Nope. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
We're now going to move into the consent items. There are 4 consent items being presented for your acceptance. These are behind tab number 9 for your review.
I'll make the motion, we approve all 4 sets of minutes.
I will second that.
Motion by Jill, second by Cindy. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Supervisor requests or comments? Are there any supervisor requests or comments?
We got them all out of the workshop.
Yeah, we did.
I actually have one, and that is that be prepared for next time. I will be going over what I intend to speak about at the community association meeting. And I want you all to think about the fact that I don't think that I should address the Welcome Center at all. And here's why. I tested it at the POA and I mentioned it. Oh my goodness. Like, I'm not paying a penny more to pay for the Welcome Center. And we don't know enough yet. We don't have any information to share. And so if it's okay with y'all, I'm
Yes.
not saying a word
Yes.
about it.
Or no, and just say you know what you can for.
I know, because that community association actually specifically asked me to speak about it, and I'm not going to. Okay, thank you.
So it is 12:40. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Jill. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 12:40 PM. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, sure. And did you need those?